Welcome to PCMC. I'm Mike Bongiorno. I'm joined today by Anthony Bongiorno.
Hello, everybody.
Happy holidays,
Happy
Anthony.
holidays to you. Season's greetings.
Welcome to Holiday Special 2022. That's enough, though. I don't want to copyright you.
All right.
So this year's Holiday Special is about one of the most well-known narratives in the world, A Christmas Carol.
By Charles Dickens.
By Charles Dickens.
Et al. Because we're gonna be looking at a lot of adaptations.
Right. Yeah, in this episode, I'm talking to you about the original text because you are a word nerd. Mm-hmm. I'm talking to JGL about the Muppets Christmas Carol, which is, I think, widely accepted as one of the best.
far superior to the novel.
Yeah. Was it Vox? What was the No, it wasn't Vox. It was Empire Magazine. Had that article. It was like, how did this become the ultimate adaptation?
It really is.
Yeah. And me and Janine are going to talk about Mickey Christmas Carol, which is another great one. And me and Vin are talking about the Doctor Who episode of Christmas Carol. So A Christmas Carol...
Oh, wait. You're not going to be covering the Jim Carrey one?
No. Well, look, I wanted to cover... The problem is we had to cut it somewhere. Like,
Yeah.
the Jim Carrey one...
There's a lot. The famous...
the George C. Scott one.
The George C. Scott one was the most...
Then there was but a lot of people also like the 90s TV one with Patrick Stewart.
Oh, I don't like that one.
The Honey Nut Cheerios commercial.
Oh,
with Scrooge. I mean, Scrooge in this narrative are so well known. I mean, if you start naming all the parodies of it, Scrooged, and then they just redid it with Spirited with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell.
So there's a lot.
The Beavis and Butthead Christmas special is the same thing.
I guess we could reference all of them.
Sure, we can. In case there's anyone here who somehow is from another planet, let's just quickly go over the narrative, and then we'll go over the story, because it's a short little novella.
Yeah, it's not quite a novel.
And I think one of the interesting things I think we could go over is the things that are not adapted.
Sure, and I pulled some quotes that I really like.
So... Christmas Carol was written in 1843 by Charles Dickens.
Self-published.
Was it self-published?
Yes.
Was it published as in a serialized?
No, not till later. He originally.
Okay.
It was self-published, self-financed.
Was this his first thing?
No.
What was his first hit?
I don't know, but...
well, he's also famous for Great Expectations.
Yeah. I think he was well established by this point, but
okay.
Something I was reading about...
David Copperfield, Tale of Two Cities.
Oliver Twist, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he had some kind of conflict with his publishing company or something, and he decided to just write this and publish it himself and sell it, and then... He rushed it. He wrote it in 6 weeks so it could be out by Christmas. It was published December 19th, and it was totally sold out in England by December 24th.
He rushed it. And it's like the most well-known narrative.
Yeah.
So the narrative is there's Ebenezer Scrooge, who is, I guess we would now call him like what? He has a loan company, or he's not. He calls it an accounting house, but it's not an He's not an accountant because people owe him money.
Yeah, it's almost like a savings and loan, kind of like a
You get like he owns people's houses. I think.
Like a bank. It's almost like he's like the bank,
right? And he has one clerk who works for him, and that's Bob Cratchit, who's
played by Kermit the Frog. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong episode.
Who's a good-hearted person.
Yes.
He has a nephew who we don't know until halfway through the books, named Fred.
Yeah.
And the nephew tries to be nice to him, but he's like, bah humbug. He says bah humbug, which did Dickens make that up? Was that a saying of the time?
Humbug means like nonsense. So bah humbug is like, nonsense.
Bullshit. Oh, it's like, that is bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I get it. Okay, very good. So his old partner comes to him. He's greedy, and his old partner was also greedy, but he died.
Jacob Marley.
Yeah, Jacob Marley comes to him and says, "I wish I had been better in life."
Ghost.
Yeah, as a ghost, and says, "I wish I had been better in life. I should have been more charitable.
Yes.
I'm suffering now in the afterlife."
Can I say one cute thing?
Sure.
The first one that I really knew of was the Muppet one, and in the Muppets, it's Waldorf and Statler as Marley and Marley.
Yeah.
and they have that great song. And I thought for like a good 20 years that it was always Marley and Marley until I read the book, and I was like, oh, there's only one Marley.
Yeah,
it's just Jacob Marley.
Yeah. Also,
that's a Muppet. That's a Muppet choice.
When I read it, I was like, they keep misspelling Fozziwig as Fezziwig.
Yeah.
But that was a fucking no-brainer. Like, Fezziwig's gonna be Fozzie, right? It just writes itself.
Yeah. Yeah, he says, I wear the chain I forged in life. He appears to him.
Yeah.
He's really scary. He's got his face is tied up because that's what they did at the time to keep the jaw from opening at open casket funerals.
He has a moment where he takes it off and his jaw
like falls off.
Which actually, the grotesqueness of that actually reminds me of Scrooged.
Yeah.
When the old guy comes back and he's got like bullet holes in him and shit.
Yeah. And he's carrying chains because the conceit is that you wander the earth carrying chains, where every link is a sin you committed.
Yeah.
So he says, I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link and yard by yard. I girded it on of my own free will, and of my own free will I wore it.
Yeah.
And then he asks Scrooge, is its pattern strange to you? Yeah. Which means like you do the same shit, bro.
Right. Marley says you'll be visited by 3 ghosts. Mm-hmm. The ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, and ghost of Christmas yet to come or yet to be.
Yes.
The ghost of Christmas past. I'm just going through it quickly. Then we'll get into the particulars of this actual story. Ghost of Christmas past shows him as a kid, happier. Mm-hmm. Shows him
getting into business,
but having friends, falling in love with a girl who eventually leaves.
Mm-hmm. Because he becomes such a miser.
Yeah. The ghost of Christmas present shows him how miserable people are in his life, like how sad Bob Cratchit's life is, but also how happy he is despite having nothing, and how people hate him, and how he's seen. And then the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come shows, this is something I didn't realize, which is the economy was getting worse in England when this was written. So the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come isn't just showing like the world without Scrooge, it's showing a worse economy. Like things like seem much worse than that.
Yeah.
More people seem poor and stuff. And basically Scrooge is dead and people are happy about it.
Yeah.
And Scrooge wakes up and he's like, oh, it's still Christmas, I still have a chance. And he, boy, you there.
Yeah.
Go
buy me a turkey.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he's happy. And
then for the rest of his life, he's known as like an old man who loves Christmas.
Right.
He kept Christmas well.
Right. And the bones that we just gave you is like the simple narrative that has been repeated so many times in so many ways.
In The Grinch and in...
Yeah, really, yeah.
I mean, it just...
Yeah, last year we talked about The Grinch for our holiday special.
I think I mentioned last year that like The Grinch's DNA is in A Christmas Carol.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Something I want to talk about that you would know more about is the tradition of ghost stories at Christmas.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too. That is something that fell out of favor before the 20th century. So it sounds silly to us, but telling ghost stories is like something that had been around for hundreds of years.
Right.
Because if you think about it, like winter is filled with cold, long nights, sitting by the fire, and telling ghost stories was like a very popular Christmas time activity. Right. It was a tradition to tell ghost stories on Christmas Eve, and you see that even in "It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year." That lyric where he says, "We'll sit by the fire."
Yeah, and I think contemporary audiences are always like,
"What? Scary ghost stories? It's Christmas.
Who the fuck does that on
That's
Christmas?
Halloween." But no, that was always associated with Christmas, and there are multiple Christmas ghost stories. Not just Christmas Carol is the most famous of them.
Right. Yeah, it's the one that's lasted, but
there are many others.
Yeah. The more I study them, the more I see that there's actually a lot of DNA in common between Halloween and like the tradition of caroling and the tradition of trick-or-treating are basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Going around trying to win favor.
Right.
Yeah.
Can we talk about also that? Yeah. I just really love this and I don't want to forget the way the novel is structured, the novella is structured in staves.
Yeah. What's a stave?
A stave is another word for a verse, or it's also on sheet music. It's the 5 lines where you write the notes. So it's literally like the book is structured like a Christmas carol, like it's a song.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I just think it's a cool little touch.
When you read a classic, it'll always strike you in a way that you didn't think it would. There's always something that people don't talk about.
Mm-hmm. And there's always like, you always expect that a classic is going to be stilted.
Right. It's so funny.
Inaccessible, but then you read it, not all of them, but sometimes you read something like this and you're like, wow, this is still so great to read. It's a great read.
Well, this really goes so fast. It's like, it's very easy to read.
It's got that great first line. Marley was dead to begin with. That's a great first line.
It's one of the best first lines.
Yeah. He was dead as a doornail. Like the whole first paragraph is like, he's dead, dead, dead.
The narrator
is funny.
Yeah. Which another reason gets to like why probably the Muppets is such a good adaptation, because they get a lot of the original book in by having Gonzo.
Gonzo is Charles Dickens and Rizzo.
Yeah.
Which is, come on, a better pair, name one.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's funny. Yeah, it's the writing's funny, and it's filled with puns and jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
In the end, he says something about living the life of total abstinence.
Yeah.
But I realized, I was like, what does that mean? Is this like a weird like anti-drinking thing?
No.
But then I realized it's because in the line before he says he was never again visited by spirits.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a pun.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a pun. Because he also in that same scene he tells Bob, "Let's have a drink."
Yeah. So it's sorry to harken back to what I said before about it being a Christmas Carol. The original published, like the original title page was a Christmas Carol in prose. Being a ghost story of Christmas. So it's like, this is a Christmas Carol but written out.
Well, it does have such a strong structure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why it's so, not just parodied, but it just repeats. It repeats over and over and over again.
And it's got that great structure of like, there's an intro, there's 3 visits, and then there's the conclusion. Right? Which you almost forget that he's actually visited by 4 ghosts, because Marley's first. But yeah, it's structured so it's tight, and it's super quick and great.
So because of its tight structure, most of the adaptations are pretty faithful, but so when I was reading this, I tried to take note of the things that don't get adapted, things that seem to be unique just for, maybe sometimes they're adapted, but things that you aren't seem to be part of the story always.
Right.
Well, let me say first off the bat, the narration's funny, but I think the book is darker. It's spookier.
Mm-hmm. It's a ghost story.
Right. Like when he sees, it's not just that he sees Marley. It's almost like he is brought into death. Because like after he sees Marley, he looks out the window and he sees tons of ghosts walking around with chains, and it's like he's now in the world of the dead.
Yeah. Can I read that paragraph?
Yeah.
I pulled that because that's a great paragraph. And I think it's one that doesn't get it's not in a lot of the adaptations.
No.
The air was filled with phantoms, wandering hither and thither in restless haste and moaning as they went. Every one of them wore chains like Marley's ghost. Some few, they might be guilty governments, were linked together. None were free. Many had been personally known to Scrooge in their lives. He had been quite familiar with one old ghost in a white waistcoat with a monstrous iron safe attached to its ankle, who cried piteously at being unable to assist a wretched woman with an infant, whom it saw below upon a doorstep. The misery with them all was clearly that they sought to interfere for good in human matters and had lost the power forever.
Right.
So he sees the world of the dead, but he sees the living also. So like he sees behind the curtain of like ghosts are always trying to atone for their sins, and they want to do good things, but they can't because they're weighed down and they can't interfere. It's really interesting.
It's really interesting. It's very dark.
They all like seem to learn their lesson.
Yeah. Well,
and it's like Marley's like, don't wait until death to learn this lesson.
Yeah. One of the things that I think I could see why every adaptation does this differently, but one of the things in the book that's different is he almost right away starts to change. Like right away, he's like, there's a few times early on where he's like, I wish I had given. I wish I had given money to those people after the charity.
After he sees himself as a lonely little boy, he says, "There was a little boy who came caroling. I wish I had given him something."
Yeah, he starts to change almost immediately.
Right.
Whereas in a lot of the adaptations, it takes a while. Mm-hmm. He like resists it until
he realizes he's gonna die.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that darkness, and I love. It reminds me of the Wim Wenders movie. Wings of Desire. Mm-hmm. Which was bastardized and adapted into the American movie City of Angels. But the original Wings of Desire is like it's not even that narrative. It's just a lot of vignettes.
The ghost falls in love with a human, right?
Well, in Wim Wenders' movie, it's just about angels and angels walking around the world. And you just kind of, it's not really narrative. You just kind of go from moment to moment with all these little stories of angels doing things. But angels they can only empathize. They can't do anything. Like there's a great scene where there's a guy like who's going to commit suicide. He's sitting like on the top of like a building or something, and the angel like puts his hand on his shoulder to try to stop the guy, but then the guy kills himself, and the angel like screams in pain because he can't do anything. It reminded me of that.
I don't want the world to see me.
No,
that Goo Goo Doll song from that great movie.
No. That's why I say it was. They call it an adaptation, but it's not that at all. Yeah, it's that alone's very dark, and going back to what you said before, like he doesn't just see 3 ghosts; he sees 4 ghosts. In the book, he sees hundreds of ghosts.
Oh yeah,
and he sees a lot of things. Like most adaptations will take one of the scenes from the ghosts, but the ghosts show him a bunch of different shit. Like there's a lot of shit that I was like, oh, this is so interesting that they're showing all these different things.
Yeah, and I like that Marley from the jump is like teaching him the lesson. He's like. He says, you were such a good man of business, Jacob. And he says, business, mankind was my business.
Yeah,
that should have been my business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the story, the ghosts come 3 nights in a row, not all in one night.
Yeah, I was always kind of confused by that.
But they might as well come in one night.
Yeah, it's weird.
Because the book does a lot of time traveling. Yeah. Like he'll fall asleep and then wake up and it's night again.
Yeah. So they all come at the hour of 1, except for the Christmas, the ghost of Christmas is yet to come.
Right,
comes at midnight.
Right,
which is the witching hour.
You could see why everybody who has adapted
just put it into one night.
Just like let's make it one night.
Yeah. Because he like keeps waking up and then falling back to sleep.
Right, and it is the night before Christmas, but the next morning it is Christmas morning. Right, so it's like there's no point in it being 3 nights. But that's what it is in the story.
Can we talk about
Marley says something like you're supposed to travel in life, and if you don't, you're forced to travel in death.
Yeah,
which is a very interesting thing.
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you want to talk about?
I was gonna say I want to talk about the forms of the ghost, specifically Christmas Past, because every adaptation has a different.
Right. Well, it's almost adaptable because
the closest
it's nothing. It's everything at once. It has 20 legs. It has 1 leg. It's a baby. It's a
because it's supposed to be like the amorphousness of memory.
Right. It's everything at once.
Yeah. I think the closest. I like the Muppets, like Little Girl.
Yeah.
Like because she's like very reflective, like the angelic child, like Victorian child trope. But actually, I was saying to you before we started recording, the Jim Carrey version is actually very, very faithful. And in that one, it's a candle. And I think it's kind of described as a candle. And then he ends up putting it out by putting the stopper over its head.
I thought that was present. That's past has the light
present
coming out
is Santa Claus.
Oh, right. The past has like light coming out of its head. Past has light
coming out of its head, but it's also like it carries like a candle stopper.
Yeah.
So because it's supposed to be like a memory is hazy and it flickers.
Yeah.
I just think it's
weird.
Cool that it's also never gendered.
Yes.
So sometimes it's been played by. Sometimes it's an object like a candle. Sometimes it's a little girl. Sometimes it's a little boy. It reminds me of
like the way like in the Bible angels are described as like weird amorphous shapes.
Yeah.
Like they're not with wings, humanoids with wings.
Every ghost like takes the form of something that like makes sense because it's past, present, future.
Yeah.
Like present, I love that he's like Father Christmas, but I love that he ages because he's only alive for 24 hours, and that he's like, oh, I have 1,800 brothers and 1,800 brothers because it's like every Christmas the new one is born.
Yeah. And
he's like jolly. He's a jolly giant.
And also living in the moment. Living in the present is represented as eating.
Yeah.
There's just tons of good food.
Tons of eating, and then by the end of the 24 hours, he's like old. Yeah, he has like white hair.
Yeah,
it's really cool. And then future is obviously like the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, and that's always almost adapted the same way. Doesn't speak.
Yeah, just points.
So when Scrooge goes into the past, he sees his little sister, who he had a good relationship with. And is the mother of his nephew.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's not in a lot of adaptations.
No. They spend a lot of time on his lost, like, love.
Yeah, they always lean into that more, which is in the book, but it's not the only thing in the book. He has other friends and other things.
Right. Yeah.
And even Fezziwig is a good businessman, but also cares about things.
Yeah.
Like, there's a great Vox article I read. I think I sent it to you, and it was called, like, A Christmas Carol is a celebration of charity and capitalism. And I agree with the point, because they're basically saying, a lot of people say, like, this is a very socialist story, but it's not. Scrooge can do good things because of his money. I think the equation that Charles Dickens is giving us is capitalism plus Christianity equals a civil
being
state.
A good person. Yeah, and a civil state.
Right. Of course, we know that's wrong, because Christianity doesn't affect capitalism. Capitalism affects Christianity.
Well, it's like,
and that's why you have things like prosperity gospel, where it's like, no, it's good to be rich.
Right.
Jesus wants you to be rich, which is not at all real Christianity.
He apparently was inspired to write this after, like, working. Like, obviously, there were a lot more.
Well, his father went to debtor's prison.
Yeah, and there were lots of, obviously, there was a huge, what's it called? Discrepancy between, like, the haves and the have-nots in London.
And that's a big part of Oliver Twist.
Yeah, and he visited some orphanages and stuff, and that's what kind of inspired him to write this. But it reminds me sort of that thing that is, like, now becoming a more sort of, like, mainstream idea, which is that, like, philanthropy is still a function of capitalism, and that you cannot ever be charitable unless you give away everything you have. Right. So, like, obviously Dickens doesn't believe in that, because he thinks that, like, oh, Scrooge can be great because he's rich and he can share his wealth. Right. Well, ultimately, though, he'll still remain rich.
Right. Well, yeah. What makes it's not the system that's necessarily bad.
It's bad individuals. Right. It's greed getting to the heart of people,
which in some ways is a more nuanced thought, a way of thinking about it.
Right.
Like, whenever I'm such a liberal person, you know, in my life, people have accused me of, like, being a Marxist, and sometimes I call myself a Marxist just for shits and giggles. But people have accused me of, like, wanting communism, and I've always said, like, I like capitalism, like, but to me, like,
you spend way too much money on toys to want to.
Right. Well, to me, it's like, I like the version of capitalism that we had after World War II. It was a much more equitable version.
Right.
If someone works really hard and has more things, has the better car, has a better house, I think that's fine. But I think the person at the very bottom of the chain should still be able to eat and go to a doctor and have clothes. Right. Like, people saying, no, it's acceptable that people at the bottom die of poverty. Are
destitute, yeah.
To me, like, no, the whole scale should be moved up.
Right.
And that doesn't make me a Marxist or a socialist or a communist. It's basically what I think Dickens is saying is you should have you should be a more equitable capitalist. And I think his answer to that is Christianity.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's not on Christmas for no reason.
Right. No. I want to get into the Christmas, the whole thing of, like, did Charles Dickens invent Christmas as we know it?
Oh, okay.
Have you done any reading on this?
No. I'm not familiar with that.
But I don't want to steer the conversation away from what we were just talking about. I agree with you. I think that there's a reason why this story has been, like, adapted and co-opted
by the most progressive.
Yeah, because of that. No, what I was going to talk about is there's sort of, like, debate about. Did Dickens... So some people say that, like, Dickens invented Christmas as we know it. Obviously not that he did not actually invent the holiday, but there's some truth to that, and some people, like, poke holes in it. But basically, like, it was a huge success. Yeah. And it is true that it had a profound, like, effect on Christmas in many ways. Like, for example, the usage of Merry Christmas outweighing Happy Christmas can be traced back to this book.
Oh, okay.
Also, Christmas was, like, sort of a holiday that was like you go to church, you go home, and, like, it wasn't, like, a big festive party.
Yeah.
And then this sort of did, like, reinvigorate that. but other like historians have said that it was already something that was coming back because during the Middle Ages, Christmas was like a huge feast that was like weeks long celebration.
Yeah.
And then there was like an interest in restoring the holiday that Charles Dickens just sort of tapped into and helped boost. So anyway, it is interesting. A lot of people consider this book to be like the birth of like, or the rebirth of like Santa Claus and jolly festivities and things like that.
I think just from a media standpoint, it has a great effect on the media surrounding Christmas.
Yes, that's what I think.
Christmas
I think
songs
the truth is in the middle.
Christmas music and Christmas stories, I think, are super influenced by this. I mean, it is the ultimate Christmas narrative outside of
the Christ story. Yeah. And then did you read there was a line cut by Dickens because he felt that it was irrelevant. But originally the Ghost of Christmas Present was talking about all his brothers, and he said his eldest brother is Jesus.
Oh, I see.
So it's like that was the first Christmas, and then these are all his brothers.
Interesting.
But he later just cut that line.
So Christmas. Let's go to Christmas Present. He's a giant.
Mm-hmm. He's very like pagan in his. He's like the pagan personification of winter.
Yeah,
like Old Man Winter or Father Christmas.
Yeah,
which really, I mean, you know, like Christmas co-opted a lot of like winter solstice celebrations. He
shows Scrooge the Cratchit home, which in different adaptations, sometimes it's very sad, which makes Scrooge realize that he's not a good boss. But then in other adaptations, it's very happy, which makes Scrooge realize you don't need money to be happy.
But in this, it's sort of both. It's like they are happy with what they have.
Yeah.
And that's the way to be.
And Tiny Tim, who's often shown with a crutch, is described in the story as having his limbs supported by an iron frame.
Yeah.
What does he have?
He's a Victorian child. That's what he has.
He's just sickly.
Yeah, he's sickly. So I pulled a quote from a paper because this is such a trope, the angelic Victorian dying child. And this quote says, as the Victorian period began, literary depictions of childhood were influenced from two main directions. And you can trace this. On the one hand, there's the figure of the idealized romantic child. This is Tiny Tim, typically conceived as naturally innocent and closer to God. Most famously in Wordsworth's poem Ode, Intimations of Mortality from Recollections of Early Childhood from 1807, in which children arrive into the world trailing clouds of glory from God, who is our home.
Well, Bob Cratchit has that line where he's like, when they go to church and he's like, he says these peculiar things like, it's good that they see him because then they'll see that people suffer.
Because he's like closer to God.
Yeah.
And then it says, on the other hand, there was the child of evangelical tracts, which are pamphlets, thought to be naturally sinful and naughty in need of constant discipline and vigilance. So like during the crux of it is, children were never studied until the turn between the 18th and 19th and 20th centuries, really. So like nobody like knew what kids were, nor did they care. Like there was no childhood, there was no culture of childhood.
Right.
So there was all these depictions of children as being these different things. And during the Victorian era, it was either like there are two depictions, the two major ones were like the angelic dying child who was like a reminder of like God and God's presence, or it was like our animalistic nature, like they're naturally naughty and need to be disciplined. And really it wasn't like nobody cared about child psychology, nobody cared about child development. Children didn't have their own clothes. It was just like they wore miniature adult clothes, like they worked, like it was just nobody understood childhood until way later.
It wasn't a concept.
And I think
also you got to think about how before modern medicine, they died. The violence of childbirth killed a lot of mothers,
and children died,
and a lot of
often.
children died.
Yeah,
like your children dying, as much as it's like the most tragic thing, was such a common occurrence that it was like, look, some of your kids are gonna die.
Right. Where it's also
it's almost like it's like an investment. Like some might grow up and live.
That's why you have a lot of them.
Right.
But that's also like you could see where it would be like, God giveth and God taketh, and like children are close to God, and sometimes He takes them early, and it's like you could see this idea of like children being like very close to God, and like.
Did you see the Sopranos movie?
No.
In the Sopranos movie, it's like a prequel, and you see Christopher as a baby. And spoiler for Sopranos, if you remember in the last season, Tony kills Christopher, his nephew.
Okay.
Because he's a drug addict and he's constantly fucking up, and he gets into a car crash and he knows they're getting in trouble, and he just takes the opportunity to like suffocate him and kill him. But in the movie, as a baby, he's given to Tony as a kid, and he starts crying. And Tony says something like, it's like he's scared of me. And then like an old Italian woman is like, sometimes they come from the other side knowing things. And it's just really interesting. And also that character from the dead narrates the film.
Right.
You just made me think of it.
Well, no, but I think it fits because there is this sort of thing of like Tiny Tim has like a wisdom.
Yes.
That the rest of them, especially Scrooge, Scrooge doesn't have. Yeah. Which is like obviously like a subversion of like you think of older people as having wisdom and children not. And I think that like part of what's happening here thematically is that like he's gaining the wisdom that Tiny Tim has already had.
Right. And the fact that
which is about gratitude.
His name is basically Tiny Tim.
Right.
Almost implies he cannot ever be older than this.
He will never. Right. He is Tiny Tim. He will never grow past this stage.
Right.
He's destined to die as a child.
Yeah. So, but outside of showing the Cratchit family, then the Ghost of Christmas Present shows Scrooge like minors living in like a really shitty working condition. That's the stuff that feels very socialist to me.
And that's what you see. Like Dickens Dickens's like activism is most evident in like the Ghost of Christmas Present scenes.
Yeah,
because it's like him commenting directly on like people are living in terrible conditions. In our city.
Yeah, and then two people living in a lighthouse.
Yeah,
like Present shows him a lot of different people in horrible situations, but are happy.
Right. Because they have gratitude for what they have. Right.
And but also because they have Christ.
Yeah, exactly. Although
it's not. I don't think
it's not like an overly Christian story.
No, though. But keeping Christmas in your heart is the idea.
Right.
Because it's not about he's not like
and I
he's
guess
not
like,
so pro-capitalist that he apologizes for it. He's not like, look at these shitty people. Look how happy they are living in these shitty lives. See, they're fine. It's not like that. It's like Christmas allows them to be happy, even though their lives are shit.
Well, because like Jesus was like, the whole thing was like being poor, right? And like he hung out with the poor, and you know the poor were in the Bible, right? If you go by that, like the Bible, obviously the Bible is a long book, but like, and has, is made up of many different authors and whatever. Yeah. But there's that whole thing of like, the camel will get through the eye of the needle before a rich man will get into heaven. Like there's a lot of like shitting on rich people in the Bible.
Yeah.
And saying that like poor people are the ones who are going to make it to the kingdom of heaven.
Capitalism affects Christianity, not the other way around.
Right. Exactly.
Because, even like your average church in a town has like gold everything.
Yeah.
It's like, this is not Christianity.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess even though it's not overly Christian, I think that's the thing that he keeps picking up on is like, maybe that the poor are closer to the kingdom of heaven than the rich are.
Maybe that's what people mean when they suggest that this creates a modern Christmas, because it makes Christmas important, but it's not necessarily just about Jesus.
Right.
It's important.
It's about giving. It's the season of giving.
Yeah.
Which
it's in the saying of a street corner choir.
Of course. It's so interesting, though, because ultimately Christmas is a huge boon to the economy once a year.
Sure.
It's when people spend the most money every year.
The poor excuse to pick a man's pocket every 25th of December. Let's talk about the weirdest part of the book that comes at this part, which is wants and ignorance.
Yeah.
Explain wants and ignorance.
Let me pull up I want to find it. I want your like interpretation, because it's weird and wild.
It's crazy weird.
Ignorance and want, and it's one of the few.
When I was reading it, I was like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah,
it's like little weird monsters come out of him.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that they look like poor, starving children.
They come out of the robes of the Ghost of Christmas Present.
He like pulls up his. It's scary. Like he pulls up his robe, and like these two little. It makes me think of like the ones who walk away from Omelas, like that poor little child that's kept in misery, so that everybody else can be happy. It's ignorant and want. It says
once a boy, once a girl.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up. He pulls up his robes and he sees these two like kids. It says, "Oh man, look here, look down here," exclaimed the ghost. They were a boy and girl, yellow, meager, ragged, scowling, wolfish.
Yeah.
But prostrate, too, in their humility. So they're like feral children.
It's
where
weird.
Graceful youth should have filled their features out and touched them with its freshest tints, a stale and shriveled hand like that of age had pinched and twisted them and pulled them into shreds. Where angels might have sat enthroned, devils lurked and glared out menacingly.
But why are they related to
no
present?
Yeah, no change, no degradation, no perversion of humanity in any grade through all the mysteries of wonderful creation has monsters half so horrible and dread. So, and then what's interesting is he says, "Spirit, are they yours?" And then he says, "They are man's," said Spirit, looking down upon them. "And they cling to me, appealing from their fathers. The boy is ignorance, the girl is want. Beware them both and all of their degree, but most of all beware this boy, for on his brow I see that written which is doom, unless the writing be erased."
Yeah.
So the boy's ignorance. It's like interesting. It's like, are we supposed to? He says, "Beware them." Like, are you supposed to be afraid of these two?
Well, it's scary in the story.
Yeah, and he says they are man's. Why do they cling to his robes? It's interesting.
I don't know. I don't know what they have to do with the present. Like, why that?
And it's right. It's the
other
last
ghosts.
thing he sees. It's the last thing he shows him.
Yeah.
Have they refuge or resource? And then that's when the Spirit says, "Are there no prisons? Are there no workhouses?" Which is when he says his words back to him, which is really good. I don't know. It's an interesting. I think the image of them being children is supposed to obviously make Scrooge feel guilty,
right?
And I guess I don't know, what is Dickens saying here? Like, what's his message? Is he saying that, like, in the present day, ignorance and want are like clinging onto and like killing Christmas?
It's interesting.
I don't know.
Wants, because capitalism is built on want.
Yeah, I know. I think it's. I don't know. I have a tough time with this. And he says, "And beware the boy, especially, whose ignorance."
And ignorance is weird too, because you think it would make more sense if it were like avarice. You know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? Like, why is it ignorance and want?
I don't know. And is it ignorance as in like ignoring the plight of others, or ignorance as in like just like sort of like the way we typically think of ignorance is like being sort of like uneducated and.
I think it's ignoring.
And that's what I think too. But then why is it with want? Because you think that people who want are those who you should be paying attention to.
Right. I don't know. Unless
it's
want
supposed
means
to be like
greed.
Yeah. I guess if you read it,
because
it's
wants
like,
is not need, right? Want is I want something.
Right. True. Yes, that's fair. But I always thought of it as like want as in like I want for food and water because I'm a human being.
And you said the Robert Zemeckis one with Jim Carrey does this?
Yeah, it does.
How do they make them look?
Let me
How do they handle this?
I'm gonna pull it up. Christmas Carol.
Once again, latter day fucking
and want.
Latter day Zemeckis, very weird shit.
Jim,
post Forrest Gump Zemeckis is some weird stuff.
Yeah. Look.
Oh my god, they're horrifying. Oh, they're weird little monster people.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Something that's not in the book that's in. It seems like every adaptation is that the ghosts fly with them. And I when talking about Mickey, I was thinking like, is this where it begins? Because
maybe
in Mickey they fly, but it could have been before that.
I mean, they just walk around in like a ghostly version of London in the book.
And the way they get different places is like just like straight up magic. Like the world around him, it's like they're in like the blankness of the Matrix.
Yeah.
Like the world around him just keeps changing.
Yeah. Well, do they?
They kind of fly.
Do they fly in the George C. Scott version?
You know, I've never seen the George.
I bet they don't. I bet they don't, because that's an older one. I bet the flying comes like mid 20th century.
Well, that was like what?
Wasn't that movie from like the 30s?
No, George C. Scott's not that old.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right.
It's like the 70s or 80s.
Is it? Now I'm very confused. Yeah, I guess you're right. He's not that old. Isn't there like an older Christmas Carol movie? I mean, there's so many. It's
not like, here's the thing. It's not like...
Oh, that's the 1984. I'm not thinking of this one. There's an earlier one.
Okay. Yeah, well, but here's the thing. It's not like... Sometimes there are films that are... Or books that are adapted a bunch of times, and there's like the main one that we... Like Wizard of Oz, right? Wizard of Oz has been adapted a bunch, but when we say the Wizard of Oz, we think of the main one, right?
The 1939.
Right. Like, that's not true for, I think, this narrative. No. Unless you're talking about the Muppets.
Of course. Because that is the authoritative
right. Like,
one.
really, like, there's tons of versions of it, but it's not like, oh, this is the real one, though.
Oh, I'm thinking of Scrooge from 1951. This one. You've seen it.
Who plays him in that?
Alastair Sim. It's widely believed to be one of the best screen adaptations of the classic novel.
I've actually not seen it.
It's scary. I remember watching this with Dad when I was a kid.
It's black and white.
It's black and white, yeah. And it's got some scary... Like, when the ghosts come, it's, like, kind of scary. That's the one I was thinking of. I bet they don't fly in that one.
I'm sure they don't, yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there is one... There is one.
I think in some... This is a weird comment, but I think in some ways, the spirit of the tone or the spirit of the story is really faithfully adapted in Scrooged. Despite the fact that they change everything, Scrooged allows the ghost to be scary.
Yeah.
And things can be violent and gross.
Yeah.
There's something about...
And it's a good...
Scrooge.
It's a good update.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's a comedy and they make him like a TV executive.
Yeah.
But
it's like a good pre these Lifetime horrible like millions of Christmas movies. Like I feel like it was like a good,
like the one with
clever,
Tori Spelling and
like it was a clever modern take of it. Where now they do like 10 of those every year.
Right.
And they did one where it's like they've done many at this point where Scrooge is a woman.
Yeah, they've done every which way.
Did you know that he used to Dickens like to read this aloud and like perform it?
Right.
And there's
he was known for that.
There's a copy in the New York City Public Library archives has like the last known copy of his prompt. Mm-hmm. They call it the prompt copy, which is the book but with all the exposition like crossed out so that he can like perform the speaking and then act out the other parts.
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess you could see it.
You know, I don't know if you saw this, but Eddie Izzard is doing Great Expectations.
That's cool.
Just him doing it.
That's cool. I really like Great Expectations.
Not read it.
So it's like a one-man show?
I think it's more... No, I think it's more like Dickens. I think it's
like
more...
he's reading it?
I think he's more like reading it.
Well, other people have done it in this style. Somebody... what's his name? Neil Gaiman did this.
Really?
Yeah, like he studied the prompt copy and he like recreated it as if you were Charles Dickens a few years ago.
Oh, that's cool. That's fun.
It was like part of the tradition.
Right, which is, from what I understand, at the time, like other writers were like, what are you doing? You're a writer. Like, you're not supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
He was the David Sedaris of his time.
Yes, he was one of the first writers to like make a thing out of public readings.
Right. So let's get to the end. Let's talk about Ghost of Christmas, not future.
Christmas yet to come.
Yet to come.
I like when he asks, is this the Christmas that will come or may come if I don't change?
Right.
And he never gets an answer.
No.
And I think it is supposed to be what will happen if he doesn't.
If he doesn't change. So like you said, it looks like the Grim Reaper.
Mm-hmm.
This is also weird because he's shown like a London that really looks, it's like Mad Max. It's like the way it's described. It's like the first thing we see is like this shack that's filled with garbage and 3 criminals talking about going into Scrooge's house and stealing shit from him.
And he's like under the impression that he'll still be alive. And then of course you find out he's dead.
Right. And it's just super weird and crazy. And then we see a young couple that I guess is indebted to Scrooge.
Yeah.
And they find out that Scrooge is dead, and they're happy
so
and relieved
yeah.
because they owe him money and they didn't have it, and now at least in the time it'll take for someone else to take up their debt, they'll have time to get the money.
Yeah.
So they're like, it's not just that they're happy he's dead, they're relieved
that he's dead.
That the person that they owe everything to is dead. It's really fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess we didn't talk about in present everything with Fred. We see the party.
Oh, yeah.
We see...
They're like making fun of his uncle.
They're making fun of him. Yeah.
And he kind of tries to defend them a little bit.
Yeah. And he there's a thing in the book where he doesn't like his wife for some reason. He's like, I don't know why you got married.
Yeah.
And she doesn't like him.
But I think that's supposed to be like he doesn't see the value in a marriage.
Right. In the future, Tiny Tim is dead. We see Christmas and Bob Cratchit comes home and he breaks down and he cries.
Yeah, it's so sad.
He has that line about like he was the first one to leave us. And it's very sad. And it's very effective to Scrooge.
He's like, that's when he starts breaking down. He's like, I'll change.
You're right.
Yeah.
And then, like we see in most adaptations, he's shown a grave. Things like this always make me think about like, are contemporary audiences more media savvy?
I was thinking this, like,
did they
really not know that it was going to be him?
Right.
Yeah.
If you're reading it, you're like, it's got to be Scrooge, right? Like,
yeah,
we know it's Scrooge, but it's presented like a reveal that it's Scrooge's grave. Like, Scrooge is the one who's dead.
You could make the argument that it's like dramatic irony, and like we know that it's going to be Scrooge, but he doesn't know,
right?
And then really, what we want to see is the reveal to him.
Yeah,
that it's him.
Yeah. And then then it's the next day, and he gets up, the whole thing, boy, and he go get the turkey. Yeah. Where in most adaptations, modern adaptations, he gets the turkey and then goes spends Christmas with the Cratchits. But in the book, he doesn't do that. He gets a turkey and sends it to the Cratchits.
House, and then he goes to his nephew.
And spends the day with his nephew.
Yeah.
But we do see he comes to work the next day. He does this thing too, where he pretends to still be bad, which is such a weird move in every version.
I know. He's like, just kidding. I'm good now.
Yeah, I'm good now. I saw Ghost. I'm good now. And that's basically it. Yeah, it's if you're a fast reader, you can definitely read this on Christmas Eve. Oh yeah, and kind of just blow through it.
It's super fast, and the whole thing is online. I mean, you can find it and just like
there are nice like I saw a good 3. It was 3 hours, which you could probably read it faster than that, but it was like a 3-hour audio book of it.
Yeah,
it's pretty good and
read by anyone or.
This one wasn't particularly read by him, but I know there's one out there read by Tim Curry.
Oh, that must be fucking amazing. I gotta get my hands on that.
There's also a Dracula read by Tim Curry that's good.
I gotta get my ears on that one too. Do you remember seeing a play adaptation when we were kids of this?
I don't.
We did.
Did we?
We did. And
no recollection.
Yeah, we did.
Hope it didn't cost too much because I don't remember it at all.
And it was really good. It was adapted to the stage 6 months after it was published. Wow. That used to happen a lot. Like Wizard of Oz, too.
Talk about Dracula. That happened in Dracula,
within
too.
like a year, the Wizard of Oz was like a famous stage play.
Right.
And it was totally different.
Well, I mean, you didn't have TV, you didn't have movies.
Right. So they would just quickly adapt things to the stage. Yeah.
Well, Anthony, thank you so much for being here. And
we did it. I'm glad that I got to be the one to talk about the OG text. And now you're going to take it from here.
Absolutely. Happy holidays.
You too.
All right, here we are. Mickey's Christmas Carol. Released theatrically, actually.
Wow. It's so short. What was it paired with?
A reissue of The Rescuers.
Oh, okay. 83.
Yes.
Comes out in
December 16th, 83.
Okay.
And The Rescuers came out originally in 75, and this was a reissue of The Rescuers.
Okay.
And a year later, in 84, it goes on NBC, not ABC. NBC. But it's 26 minutes, which is perfect. So it's like they had to have known it was going to be a TV show.
Yeah.
And, for something that's only 26 minutes, it hits all the beats. It doesn't feel over truncated at all.
No, it almost all the beats, right? So like they don't do the like, you there, boy. What day is it?
No.
And they don't do the Fred playing charades, not charades, or whatever game he's playing. Animal, mineral, vegetable game. But almost all the beats it gets.
Yeah.
Even the like people talking about him after he's dead.
Yeah. The fucking weasels.
The weasels.
I love those weasels.
This should be like a Scrooge plus characters from Mr. Toad special.
Right.
There's so many characters from Mr. Toad in this.
It's called Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
But Mickey is not in it that much.
No.
He's Bob Cratchit, which, by the way, perfect character for him to play.
Great Bob Cratchit.
He gives a great performance. This is the first Mickey short since they stopped doing him in the 50s. So
wow.
The original run of Mickey's ended in the 50s, which is itself crazy because we're talking about like the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Yeah.
Almost 30 years of Mickey shorts. And then they stop, and then this is like his return to shorts.
Wow.
But yeah, you have Donald and Goofy. No Pluto. He got fucked in this.
Yeah, we got Minnie. She doesn't have a single line.
Anything. Apparently something was recorded, but they cut it out.
Oh. She says a lot with her eyes.
You bet she does. I kept waiting for her to be sassy, but then,
I know.
But then it's like, no, that's Miss Piggy.
That's
Miss Piggy.
Miss Piggy, who is rightfully pissed at Scrooge.
Yeah.
And like her angry little daughters, who I love.
Oh, I love them.
So cute. I can't wait to listen to you and Dan talk about that. I'm so excited.
And
also I was very, very angry that I couldn't do it. I wanted it so bad. I mean, this is
a lot of Toad people, a lot of Mr. Toad people.
So, like, the friends from Mr. Toad are the people collecting money.
Yeah.
Mr. Toad himself is Fezziwig.
Yes.
And then
the weasels.
The weasels are from Mr. Toad.
Although I always think of them
as Roger Rabbit. Yeah,
they're great in Roger Rabbit.
I mean, it's the same weasels, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So, and then also, Mr. Toad's horse is Fred Donald Duck's horse. When he comes in the carriage,
right.
That's Mr. Toad's horse.
So the only other real outlier is Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah, Jiminy Cricket. Oh, and Willie.
Yeah, the giant, right?
Yeah. So okay.
And Peg Leg Pete goes to Christmas Future.
And when you see Chip and Dale,
yes, they're hanging
out
at
party. They're always around. Party. And then there's some other. There's like the Three Little Pigs.
Yes, they're hanging out on a street corner, just singing.
The wolf is doing like the Santa, collecting like the Salvation Army Santa, and then they're singing. Okay, so it hits all the beats.
Yeah.
Scrooge McDuck is a wonderful Scrooge. He's been around since the 40s.
Yeah,
47. He was in the comics,
right? The Duck Family comics. But this is the first time he plays his namesake.
Yes.
So it's perfect.
So yeah,
and this is not the. What is it? He's not the first person to do Scrooge's voice because they did it on a record without him. But this is, I think, his second time doing it.
Oh, okay.
But then he's the classic voice of Scrooge because he's the one who does it in DuckTales.
Oh, okay.
And what is it? This is remarkable. This is the last time the original Donald Duck does the voice.
Wow.
This is his last one, and it's also the first time for one of the new Mickeys, but there's been so many Mickeys. There are multiple Mickeys at a time.
There's multiple Mickeys now.
Yeah. But yeah, the original Donald Duck, who kind of created the voice.
Aww.
Clarence Nash.
Okay.
It's his last time.
He's Fred. He's the nephew.
Yes.
Who's always a cheerful character.
Yeah. This is based on an album that they did that was A Christmas Carol. Mm-hmm. But in that, the Ghost of Christmas Past, I think it was Maleficent.
Oh, weird.
There's some different ghosts. There's some different casting.
Okay.
But it was also Scrooge, and most adaptations hit all the beat. He walks with the ghosts. So the thing that I'm wondering is, where does he fly? Is this where the flying comes from, the Mickey one? Because it feels like they always fly now.
Yeah, it always feels like they fly.
Was Mickey the one who started it?
83. I mean,
I don't know. Is there an instance of the flying
to do it in
before?
Animation?
Because in the story, they're just walking.
They just walk around.
They're walking
around. You
around.
don't even know what to do with flying.
Yeah. And it's also not one night. It's 3 nights.
Whoa.
3 consecutive nights.
Oh, okay. You know what, though? I remember that in some adaptations, it's almost like he's going back to bed.
Right.
And then another ghost comes.
Right.
So, okay. We see... Oh, something else I was wondering. Is his sign crossed out in the novella? Because it's just crossed out here. So it's like Marley and Scrooge, or Scrooge and Marley.
Right.
And the Marley is crossed out with like a pen.
I don't think they say anything about it at all.
Because it's just like a really cool, like it's a fun visual cue that he's so cheap he won't even change the sign.
Right.
But like there's always snow covering the Scrooge, so he's knocking it off every time he passes.
I love the signs inside.
Oh, talk is cheap.
Talk is cheap and time is money.
Yeah, love it. So there's always the conversation about the heat in the office.
Right.
It's always so cold. He's like, you used a piece of coal last week.
Right. He asked for a day off or half a day. Mickey asked for half a day off.
Half a day.
It's a poor excuse to pick a man's pocket every 25th of December. Right.
Does he do his I don't remember him doing his laundry in any other version, but he does his laundry in this. He just throws bags of laundry at him.
Yeah. Right. He's like,
so they can make the joke later, like, ooh, what's cooking on the stove? He's like, that's your laundry.
Yeah. Oh, I put fucking Mickey cutting one pea into pieces. They are so poor.
I know, but that's actually, I feel like that's a callback to the Fun and Fancy Free beanstalk, where he's cutting a bean into 100 pieces.
Right.
So, it's the story, he walks home. It genuinely gets spooky at times.
And it genuinely melancholy.
Yeah.
In a way that I feel like kid stuff doesn't do enough anymore. Like it's dark and upsetting.
The story, I mean, just the story itself is pretty dark. It's the scary ghost stories of the Christmas song.
Right.
So he walks home alone at night. He's just obviously like alone in the world. He doesn't even enjoy his money. He's just a miser. He just hoards it. He hoards.
We see him counting it, which is sort of like, it feels like a little precursor to what we're going to see in DuckTales.
Yeah.
Of him swimming in it.
He's always counting. Yeah. And he's like hugging it with his arms. He's just money.
I love when Daisy is his girlfriend, and she's like, I've been keeping this honeymoon cottage. And he's like, well, you were an hour late on your payment, so I'm foreclosing on your cottage.
Oh, I love the hearts breaking and the shattering.
She is so thirsty all the time now. God. She's like, dance with me, Ebenezer. It's like, who were the horny fucks who created Daisy Duck?
I know. God. Now, I think I've told you this. Now she seems like his worker. Like, she seems like his caseworker or something. Yeah. He's always checking in on him. Like, is he all right?
Yeah.
She's handling him. So he goes home. The door knocker changes.
That's in the story.
And it's Goofy.
Yes.
Goofy is Marley. How could Goofy be mean? He could never be mean.
What did they say? They keep saying he swindled the widows. And...
Oh, yes. Oh, God. I just watched it like before you got here. Yeah, he was such a good guy.
Robbed the widows and swindled the poor.
So he's in his chains. And he says, Bill caught this joke. I didn't even realize. He was like, you'll be visited by 3 ghosts tonight. And he puts up two fingers. Oh, Goofy.
How are you an accountant?
So, and he's like, he left me money for his tombstone and I had him buried at sea. That was the joke.
He trips down the and does the classic Goofy laugh. You gotta love it.
Oh, so good. But so Goofy is Marley and he lets him in on what's about to happen.
I was watching that new documentary about Mickey. And they were saying that, like, once Mickey became this golden icon, he couldn't be a trickster anymore, which is in the early stories, he's, like, kind of naughty. Yeah. So that's why you created Donald. But also didn't want him to be too stupid anymore. So that's why they created Goofy. So they're really there just so he could be nothing. So he can just be cute.
Just be nice. I'm nice. Well, that's what's great about the wonderful world of Mickey Mouse.
Right.
Because he's kind of got a personality again.
Right. He's anxious.
He is. And he's a people pleaser.
Yeah.
To a fault.
Yeah.
And he is really cheerful, but like overly so.
Right.
And Minnie's got kind of a different character.
Right.
It's all very cool. I love
all that new
that
stuff
show.
Is so good. I love all that new stuff.
And that's the comedic actor. Oh God, I don't know how to say.
It's hard to say his name.
Chris Diamantopoulos, I think.
He was Moe in Three Stooges.
That's right. How was that? Did you see
I enjoyed that movie. It was funny.
I like him. He's very good.
The joke that I was thinking about is there's like a British butler. So Moe goes, listen, 3PO. And it's so good. Anyway, Jiminy Cricket is the ghost of Christmas Past.
Right.
Sounds very much not like Jiminy Cricket.
He sounds weird.
It's not, was it Edgar Bergen? Candice Bergen's father? I think so.
I never knew that.
I might be way wrong.
He's in Fun and Fancy Free, having a party with a little girl for no reason.
Yeah, Jiminy Cricket's in that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Jiminy Cricket's in
Isn't he like narrating the stories or something?
Yes. Yeah.
That was that weird time in Disney when it's like,
they didn't know what they're doing.
We're putting all our money towards propaganda. So
yeah, they're doing anthology movies. Voiced? No. Originally? No. Portrayed by Cliff Edwards?
Originally?
Oh, Clarence Nash did him for 2 years. Oh, I guess. Yeah, Cliff Edwards from 1940 through 1970.
But who does him in Pinocchio?
Cliff Edwards, I guess. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, Edgar Bergen's never done it.
Then what
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the voice for the live action.
Oh, boy. Did you see that?
I did. I actually just saw it yesterday on Thanksgiving.
Oh, what a bummer. I did not like it.
It's weird.
It's like
weird. And it ends with like, who knows what happened?
Right.
As the pitch meeting says.
And kids
like, really, that's how you're going to end it? Just who knows? Yeah. Who knows?
And kids can't drink anymore, so they're naughty by breaking clocks.
Yeah, it's weird.
The Guillermo del Toro one came out. I haven't seen it yet, but
it's out?
Yeah, I'm excited to watch that.
Okay.
We do Fezziwigs.
Fezziwig is...
Which I always am like, you mean Fozziwigs?
Fozziwig!
By the way, the slam dunk of that when they made
they were like, hello.
We're going home early.
It's Fozzie.
Fozzie wigs and doing the Marley Brothers and making it Waldorf and Statler.
I always, like, Anthony makes fun of me so much because I'm always like, the Marleys were dead to begin with. He's like, there is only one. I was like, shush, shush, shush.
So the Ghost of Christmas Present he's the giant from Beanstalk, right?
Yeah, it's Willie.
Yes.
Willie. That's another thing. So Bill was like, this used to scare me so much when I was a kid. When he opens the curtains. Because it's animated in a different style too. It's like a super close-up of his eye.
It's weird.
It's very weird.
The food looks delicious, though.
It always looks great.
I love the idea that we represent the present by eating.
Yeah.
Like, live in the moment,
it's always giant. It's always right there. Like, I guess it's just because it's the present moments all around you. Yeah. It's just this all-encompassing thing. So the Ghost of Christmas Present is always huge.
Yeah, he's like in his pocket.
Yeah. And it's something that I don't think they do in this is the Ghost of Christmas Present is always forgetting.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's always like he just lives in the moment.
Yeah.
Michael Caine's like, you forget, you've told me this already. He's like, oh yeah, that's right. And then also he ages.
Yeah.
But he doesn't in this. He's just Willie.
In this one, he does use a street lamp as a flashlight.
That's what he does at the end of Fun and Fancy Free.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's a little callback to that.
He also sees a naked lady because he's picking up roofs to look at, and he picks up a roof and you hear a lady scream and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," because that's hilarious. That's
how. So I watch Fun and Fancy Free a lot in this house because the kids love the Mickey and the Beanstalk.
Sure, that's really what it's about.
Yeah, and then it ends with Willie lifting up the roof and it turns out he's real and they're like, oh, and it's like live action. It's like one of those hybrids.
Yeah.
And then he goes throughout LA, like lifting up the houses and using street lamp. And then he picks up the brown derby.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
Puts it on his head. It's cute.
Tiny Tim. Oh. Adorable. So adorable.
Oh, just the cutest little Mickey Mouse you've ever seen.
I know.
Yeah, so the absolute cutest little voice. And they're like, what is she serving? A canary? It's like the tiniest little bird.
Yeah.
He's got a little drumstick to eat. And he goes to give it to his dad. I don't know. I've never known. He's got a crutch.
Is it consumption?
I thought consumption because he coughs in a lot of other versions. Yeah. He doesn't in this one. But it's just like he's got like failure to thrive or something, you know?
It's just you live in very poor times.
Yeah, he just like is malnourished probably and has never had medicine in his life. Oh, God. And like is probably just weakened by whatever he's had over the years. Like I don't know what Tiny Tim has. He's just like he's just sick. Poor baby.
Scrooge does not offer health coverage.
No, he doesn't. What anything looking up Tiny Tim is just like sending me to the ukulele performer Tiny Tim.
You gotta love it.
Here, what is Tiny Tim sick with? Tiny Tim is believed to have had rickets, tuberculosis, polio, and or cerebral palsy.
Yikes!
Oh, whoa!
By who? Is that Wikipedia?
No, this is environmental factors in Tiny Tim's near fatal illness. I guess it's a peer-reviewed article.
I believe polio and tuberculosis.
What? Oh, sorry. I was like, this is very different. Tiny Tim, the performer, also died, and it was believed of congestive heart failure. But that is not what our dear friend, little Tiny Tim, had.
These little cute Mickeys, they show up from time to time, but they're not like Donald's nephews. They're not like established as like characters.
Yeah, Morty and Ferdy.
Oh, they are?
Yeah. So Morty and Ferdy are Mickey's nephews. They have names. They wear like little crowns. We know them because they feature heavily in 5 Minute Mickeys.
Okay.
They have this like line of kids like storybook anthologies, and it's like 5 minute blank. So we have 5 minute Star Wars stories. We have 5 Minute Mickeys. And they have like 5 Minute Princesses, all this stuff. And a lot of the Mickey stories center around like his adventures with Morty and Ferdy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's why I know their names.
I'm not that familiar with them.
Yeah.
They're in the new Wonderful World of Mickey, the Halloween one.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
That's a great, I love that.
That's a really good one. Maybe the best one.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
So the Ghost of Christmas Future, right, is Pete. We don't know it at first. He's just got like a hood over him.
Yeah.
And he's got smoking a cigar, which is like the smoke is coming out. And we do the thing of whose grave is this? And it's, and hell opens up.
Well, wait. First, he's questioning like what's going to happen to him because he's like, I see an empty chair where Tiny Tim's going to be, and that always happens. So they go to the cemetery, and you see. Oh my god!
Yeah,
you see.
Oh, Mickey! I sent you the picture of it. Did. I was like, brutal.
This is brutal. So you see the family at the cemetery with this little crutch,
and Mickey crying,
holding it, and there's this shot like right after the scene you sent, like right after that still you sent me of Mickey's face, and he's just like gaunt. And he's got tears in his eyes, and he's just like looking up at the sky. And I was like, oh my god, like we're watching Mickey Mouse mourn the loss of a child. like the most heartbreaking loss you can experience as a human being.
I know.
And like we're watching Mickey Mouse experience.
It's rough.
It's so bad.
Super rough.
And it's like it's such he's drawn
right.
It's so sadly. It's really, really rough to look at.
Again, Mickey deserved an Oscar for this.
Oh my god,
he never did a better job.
So so then maybe the scariest cemetery part in any of the versions, I don't know.
It's pretty scary. Hell opens up.
Yeah. Hell pops out of this coffin. Like he looks down, the coffin is like coming up towards him, and then it's like hellfire is coming out of it. Yeah, it's pretty.
But it's always a great transition because it will go from that to I'm awake, I'm alive.
He's awake. He's in his
running around
curtains.
Yeah. He puts on the coat that still has the coat rack in it. He's like, I can't go out like this.
He just puts shoes on.
Yeah.
His hat is like the top is flapping around.
Yeah, he goes out. He gives money to the two guys.
Yeah.
He opens his coat. He just has
a million pockets
with all just little sacks of gold.
Yeah, so good.
He pretends to still be mean to Bob Cratchit, and it's like that's a weird move, dude.
Yeah,
just be nice.
He's like, I'm gonna surprise him. Yeah. He's gonna love this.
Yeah, and he brings and the Tiny Tim sees the
little
toys,
bear. Yeah,
and he's like taking it. He brought a sack that has toys
and a big chicken or a big turkey,
a big delicious cooked turkey.
Like I said too, I was like, so that was just in there with the toys.
These toys smell like turkey. These are weird. He's gonna make me feel more hungry. And he makes him a partner.
Yeah. Does he do that every time?
I have no idea.
I love that.
He does it in this.
I was like, great.
I think in the Muppets he just gives him a raise.
I think he gives him a raise. But the partner I didn't remember from the Muppets. I like that touch. I thought that was nice.
So what's your history with this? When did you first see it?
I don't even remember. I mean, I was so little.
We had it on VHS, and it had commercials, so my parents must have taped it from TV.
Okay. I think
I would have been one when it was on TV.
Yeah. I mean, you figure, so I was born in 87, so this was already just like running.
Yeah.
And whenever we got the Disney Channel, I'm sure it played around Christmas time.
Sure, yeah. It played for a while. Yeah, I remember it being on VHS, so I remember it every Christmas. I remember watching it and stuff. It's one of those things that you watch, and I'm like, yeah, I know everything that happens in this.
Yeah,
it's just really well done.
Mm-hmm.
I think the way that you get bad children's programming is to not go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like go for the sadness, go for the scariness, and it does that.
Yeah,
because if you don't hit the beats, then it's just all gonna feel hollow.
Yeah, like
it's gotta be sad.
It's gotta be, you can't pad it with like too much nonsense.
Right.
Like I can see a version of this where they had like and granted Muppets has a lot of songs, but they work.
But everyone is fucking gold.
Yeah. Yes. So like I can see a version of this where they have like a lot of musical numbers for no reason, or like the Zemeckis one where they have a lot of like chase sequences, for lack of a better word, where like he's flying out of control all over the city.
I never saw the Zemeckis one.
It's not very good. It gets really boring at parts because, like in his Polar Express, there's all of these like sequences where I guess he's trying to show off animation, where like in Polar Express they're like sliding down chutes and gifts are going everywhere, and it just like my eyes glaze over.
Jesus Christ.
And in the same thing with the with Christmas Carol, it's like he's flying through the city for like a really long time, and it's like he's like out of control flying, so like he's screaming. It's just, oh god.
When we were talking about witches and Halloween, I was saying like he doesn't care about the story at all anymore. All he cares about is visual direction.
Yeah.
I mean, he did the new Pinocchio, and it's maybe his worst movie, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, it's really bad. And just like real bad. Weird choices. Like, why does he look at a pile of shit in the street for a while?
I do not get it.
It's so strange.
I do not get it. So I was trying to think about, this is such an adapted thing. Like, I remember loving when I was like 13, like the Beavis and Butthead episode, the Christmas special, where like it was I forget who it was, but like the Bob Cratchit was their boss at the burger place, and like think about how many times this is parodied. It's like such a well-known narrative.
I mean, so much so that Disney already had a Scrooge character,
right,
that they could just insert into this story.
Right. Scrooge is, we talked about this a little bit last year when we talked about Grinch.
Right, like Scrooge is a Grinch type character, or vice versa.
And just the word just means like, oh, he's being a Scrooge. You're a Scrooge. Like it's so,
like they're ugly words, both Grinch and Scrooge.
Right.
They like make you like
it's like an onomatopoeia almost.
Face. Yeah, exactly. They're harsh sounding.
Right. Scrooge.
Like, is that a name? I've never heard that as a person's name.
I've never met a Scrooge.
I've never met a Scrooge.
If there is a Scrooge, they've long changed it, like the Hitlers.
The Hitlers and the Scrooges.
That would be incredible if you met a Scrooge.
I would love to meet a Scrooge. I would marry them. Yeah. I would divorce Bill to marry a Scrooge.
Do you remember the Honey Nut Cheerios commercial?
Yes, I do.
From, I think the 80s and 90s of it's a very short version. He's mean, and then the Honey Nut Cheerios fucking bee is like, have some cereal, Scrooge, and he's like, all right, I'm nice now.
That's all you need.
I saw one the other day. I'd never seen this before. It was a Chicken McNugget commercial. And it's like at a party. I guess it's after he's gone nice. It's Scrooge's party. And he's going around giving people nuggets. And he's like, here, I think he gives Tiny Tim a nugget.
I don't know. I've never seen that.
This is enough for you, child. It's so ubiquitous.
Yeah. And he based it on himself.
He did?
Dickens based Scrooge on himself. Because he's a real asshole.
Right.
He was known to be an asshole.
But there's definite
and very vain.
But there's commentary in it. Like there's like, even in the original story, or especially in the original story, like it's saying something about capitalism. It's saying something about money.
Yeah.
Which is
and
interesting.
Ultimately sharing the wealth.
Which is really interesting that it's so popular.
Yeah.
Because like we elect Scrooge to be our president.
Yeah. Every
put
time.
Signs of him in our lawns. Like the idea of this guy's rich and bad, and having money made him worse.
But I guess that's Christian, right?
Yeah, I get. Yeah.
What's
right?
wild,
it is a Christmas story. Yeah,
because it's ultimately a Christmas story, and Christianity is all about like the poor and like the hymns.
Don't let
and
the
stuff.
Christians know that.
Yeah, well, yeah. Tell me about it. But like that's the message anyway.
Yeah,
right. That's the brand. Is like the poor are richer than any rich man, or like that's one of the Jesus one of his parables. It's like a rich man has a camel can fit through the eye of a needle sooner than a rich man can get into heaven. Right. Because that's not good. Like you shouldn't have everything. Right. You should give it away.
We should not have billionaires.
No.
Going back to Twitter, the idea that a billionaire could just buy a company and destroy it.
Yeah. And I think he's currently, because it's a living list, the Forbes richest people in the world list, because people's like valuations drop into. He's currently the richest person in the world.
And fucking all he ever did was buy shit that other people did. Right? Did he even create? Was PayPal him or eBay? What was
PayPal? Yeah.
Did he even create that?
I don't know.
I know he bought Tesla. Like he's which actually makes him actually like the common day, the modern day fucking Edison, because Edison really just bought shit. Like what we think of Edison is kind of a fable.
Have you been reading up on Edison lately?
No, I read a lot of Edison. When I was a kid, I think the first book I ever read on my own
was an Edison book.
No, that was Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah.
But I did read an Edison book on my own as a kid. Yeah, I've always been interested in Edison. I've read multiple books about Edison.
Oh, okay.
And
I didn't know he was autistic.
Studying film history, you're going to learn a lot about Edison.
Going to learn. Yeah, just me in a Film 101 course, we did a lot about Edison.
Right. Well, was he autistic? Looking back now at what we know about him, people think that he may have been. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
At the time, who really knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a good one.
It's a good one.
I'm glad I had a reason to rewatch it because I feel like the Muppets has taken its place in my heart.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For me, that's number one. Really.
Right.
But I did forget about this one because it's been so long since I saw it, and coincidentally, so Henry, he uses Alexa constantly and for everything to the point where. So like we have a Fire Stick in our TV, so our device can control the TV and turn it on, and it can like find programming for him. And so if we're not like speedy enough for him, he just like asks her to do it.
Oh my goodness.
I know. So, and now that Peter can talk clearly, or clearly enough, now like 90% of their fights are like he wanted to play one song and Henry wanted to play another song, and now they're fighting over it.
Okay.
It's just, I'm about to get rid of it. But it's fine. It made its way onto his like what I'm thankful for page that he had to bring into school.
Nice.
It's my Alexa.
I'm thankful for Alexa.
Coincidentally, he purchased Snowed In at the House of Mouse, which is not available on Disney Plus for some reason. And I was like, what do you mean you purchased it? I'm like, I'm sure it's on Disney Plus. He's like, no, it wasn't. So I said yes when they said, do you want to buy it? I was like, what? I'm like, I've never even heard of this thing. He's like, well, I saw the picture and I wanted it. I'm telling you, we were out of the room for 2 minutes. Like,
wow.
We could not make it back fast enough for this transaction to occur. And it was like $17. So now we own it. And it is just like, I don't know if you're familiar with House of Mouse. It was So it's like this weird thing. Like House of Mouse is almost like a nightclub or like a cabaret where like all the Disney characters go.
There's a Haunted Mansion one.
Oh, yeah. Oh God! Don't tell Henry; he'll buy it. We have to like disable purchasing.
So it was $17 for like one episode.
It was for this Christmas special. So it's called Snowed In at the House of Mouse, not Edward Snowden at the House of Mouse. And
because that's what you were thinking.
I know that's what everyone was thinking. We always are. And so it's just 2 Christmas shorts. And then like a bunch of interstitials. And so it's
with like Captain Hook in the audience.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's so weird.
It's very odd.
So it's the Mickey Nutcracker.
Okay.
Which I've now watched a bunch of times. And
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
It's, it's weird. And then the Mickey Christmas Carol. So we've been watching it like crazy. But then I wasn't convinced that it was the full version that they had, so I watched it again, and it is. It's just they just have those 2 shorts in this movie that I paid $17 for, and they're available on Disney Plus. I'm just, you know what? He loses a Christmas present for that. How about that?
Boy.
How about that?
Have you seen Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas? Because that's the more
that's
the contemporary new. Like I've never seen it, but people of a younger generation than me, that's a big thing for them.
Now, Once Upon a Christmas.
And then there's a Twice Upon a Christmas as well.
Oh my God.
I don't know what it is. I don't think it's a Christmas Carol story, but it's like currently the Mickey Christmas thing.
Interesting. Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, 1999.
Yeah.
And that is a handful of Disney's famous characters spread the Christmas magic and love through 3 separated, heartwarming animated tales. Okay. So what are the tales? It's narrated by Kelsey Grammer, so that's great.
Great.
And the stories are Donald Duck Stuck on Christmas, inspired by the 1892 short story Christmas Every Day by William Dean Howells. Huey, Dewey, and Louie wake up, and they go downstairs to open their presents, even though they're supposed to wait. Okay. They go sledding before Christmas dinner. Donald yells at them. Okay, so they learn a Christmas lesson. A very goofy Christmas. Goofy and Max are mailing a letter to Santa. No, I don't think I've ever seen this. And
well, it's
then
on Disney Plus.
Mickey and Minnie's Gift of the Magi. Aw. And the finale is they sing different songs. Oh.
Yeah.
The video, I had a Christmas VHS also. And it was like one of the sing-along ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I had with all the different...
I think Mickey goes well with Christmas.
I think so.
I have a really nice blanket that I actually got at Disney World. And it's just it's like one of those blankets, but it's like one image, and it's like Mickey and Minnie, and they're like on a snow. And it was because Jen was free. When we went to Disney, it was unseasonably freezing.
But you went in February, right? Because it was right before
so
pandemic.
It was really cold during fireworks. So I went and I just bought it to get a blanket. And I was like, this blanket's awesome.
You just happened to pick the best one.
Yeah. This is, I mean, you might as well. And I love, you see there's ornaments and stuff like Mickey. Like I love Mickey Halloween, but like Mickey Christmas is like a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think probably because the color scheme of Mickey goes so well with Christmas, it's just like.
Right. Usually they'll go like 30s Mickey or 40s Mickey. Right. They'll do the black and white Mickey.
So it's like popping against all the red and stuff. And I mean, they have Ye Old Christmas Shop in. Yeah. What is it? Frontierland? No, not Frontierland. It's like in the America part.
I think that's where I got the blanket.
Okay, that makes sense. And that's just like a year-round Christmas shop that they have in Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then like you go into like Home Goods or whatever. There's always like going to be Mickey stuff, Christmas Mickey mugs, and Christmas. All
they
that
have
shit.
like Christmas Mickey villages. They have Costco this year. Oh, I wanted it so bad. Costco this year had like a Mickey Cinderella's castle. It was all Christmas. Ooh. And then all the characters were in there. And then they also had like almost like a Home Alone house. It was like a mansion kind of, and it was a Christmas mansion and had like an ice skating rink in the front. It was just like beautiful.
A couple years ago they had like a tree but like had like animatronics running around it.
Yeah. I've seen, I mean, really, really beautiful stuff. Again, most of the storage in my house is for decorations.
Right.
We don't get a real tree, so like we have to store a tree. So it's just like it's too much stuff.
At Primark, they had a Mickey Christmas tree ornament advent calendar.
Oh, cute.
Which we were really close to getting, but we were like, they're too similar. Like every one is just a different color. Like if it were
like all different characters,
if they were different shit, it would be better. But
we do Christmas ornaments a lot for souvenirs for like most trips that we do. Like we try to find an ornament that kind of commemorates the trip. And so of course we went to the Christmas shop while we were there in September, and I actually didn't get like my favorite ornament. I wanted one that was like very much like the year we went. So I got a 50th anniversary one.
Sure.
And it's gorgeous. It's like this. I can't wait to put it on the tree, but I'm going to put it very high so the boys don't touch it.
Sure.
It's just like a clear glass globe, almost like a snow globe. And in it has the castle, but it's like done in the colors for the 50th anniversary. And then there's like some characters, like Mickey and Minnie are in their like 50th anniversary outfits. And it's just like really, really pretty. And it's big. So I'm excited to like have that on the tree this year.
The Disney store, rest in peace, would have an official ornament every year.
Yeah. They had a couple for the 50th. Like I actually bought one for my aunt as a souvenir, and I was like really torn on which one I was going to get. And this one had like the 3 parks, like mini versions of the 3 parks, and then some characters like kind of flying around in there. But it's all in that like pink and purple and blue color scheme, which is really pretty. And like also not like a color scheme you see on ornaments a lot. So I like that too, that it was kind of be the only one that looks like that.
Oh boy.
I know.
I'm losing my voice. I can't do Mickey right now. Well.
Oh boy. I don't know.
Wow.
Is that a good
job.
one? I hear his voice so much in this house.
When I was a waiter, I worked with this waitress. She was like a young kid. She was like 19. But she could do Donald's voice.
What?
Perfectly.
That and
I don't even know
Pig are like the 2 hardest voices.
But it's like, it's something my body cannot do. Because like, she like barely moved her mouth. Like it was coming from
it just comes from your throat. My
somewhere.
dad can kind of do it.
Porky's hard because you have to. You got to figure out.
Yeah.
There's like a method of like, every 3rd syllable you do this, and every like it's.
They require different skills, but like uncles and like some people's dads, like my dad, can do Donald Duck, but not, like you have to do a really like this. People can make the noise, but you're not necessarily doing
this.
Donald.
Girl would sometimes do it, and you would be like, "That's Donald Duck."
That's crazy.
It was wild.
That's a skill. And also, how do you figure out how to do it? Henry's interested in voices now, which I think I was at his age too.
Yeah.
He's like, Mommy, what Disney character's voice can you do? I'm like, I don't think I could do any of them.
What a disappointment.
I was like, what voice can you do? He's like, Stitch. I was like, oh, how do you do that? He goes, Stitch. I'm like, oh, okay, you gotta work on it.
That's fun. You're like, I got a few notes, but you know, you're getting there. All right, thank you.
Well, thank you for having me, and Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Keep Christmas in your heart.
Thank you.
That's what Scrooge promises to do.
Yes.
He will keep Christmas every day.
Happy holidays, Vincent.
Oh my God. Is it the holidays?
You bet it is.
Oh, I see, because it's the Alamo Drafthouse tree.
Yeah, I went to see Elf at the Alamo Drafthouse, and they gave me a little elf hat, so I put it on the top of my Christmas tree.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
How's your holiday season going?
Good. I'm still shocked Christmas is next week by the time we're recording this.
I know. You know, everyone... I was just thinking about this. People say things like, I can't believe it's almost 2023. And I feel like I have these conversations every year. Is this just perpetually how everyone feels, or does it actually mean something about the way we're perceiving time?
I guess it means something about the way we perceive time, because I guess like when you're a kid, it feels like the year is so... You know what it is? When you're a kid, the year is so segmented that it feels longer. Like you recognize the seasons more.
Things are newer.
Things are newer, so you're more occupied.
It's also 1 year is a larger percentage of your life.
Right. If you're 6 years old, 1 year is a huge portion of your life.
Right.
Right. Whereas now, you know, you could be preoccupied with work and not be caring about, you know, the seasons like you would in school because they're teaching that to you and it's brand new.
Right.
So all of a sudden it's like, you know, yesterday was the middle of September and now all of a sudden we're in the middle of December.
So that's why adults are flabbergasted by the passing of time.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be time. It could be like the day of the week. Go up to any adult and go, oh, I can't believe it's Saturday. And they'll go, yeah, I know, right?
Right. You can do that for any day of the week.
Really, anything, people be like, yep.
Like, can you believe it's 4:30 in the afternoon already? It's like, yeah, oof.
Who was it? Was it Tom Segura who had the joke like, how many fucking days are there? Just, how many?
Infinite until you die.
So... we're here to talk about the 2010 Doctor Who Christmas special, A Christmas Carol.
Yeah, the most Christmassy Doctor Who special.
It was the Christmas one before this, I think, was the Doctor, the Wardrobe, and the C.S. Lewis reference.
Was it?
Or was that the one after?
I think that was the one after, because this was the one that came after the fifth season. Yeah, that one was... Yeah, because this one was... Like, hey, we're going to do a real Christmassy one.
Right.
Then they tried to do it again with Narnia. Right. And that's where it was like, it's not as good.
In some ways, I say this is my favorite, but it's only my favorite if you're counting this Christmassy, because probably my favorite Christmas special is the Titanic one with David Tennant.
Oh, really? Because that one's
barely Christmassy.
I was going to say, that one usually gets a pretty mixed reception.
I love the moment where he's like... who are you, sir? And he's like, I'm the Doctor. I'm 900 years old. There are 7,200,000 people in that ship, and I'm the one who's going to save it. And Kylie Minogue is like, I want to fuck him.
Yeah, everyone just remembers Kylie Minogue being in that.
Yeah. By the way, if you would ask me last week, is Kylie Minogue the Frozen girl in this episode? I would be like, yeah, it's not. It's not Kylie Minogue.
No, it's not Kylie Minogue.
It's some opera singer.
Yeah, no. People forget Kylie Minogue is in a lot of weird shit. She's in the Street Fighter movie.
Yeah, what was she? Something.
I don't remember.
Was she was one of the Street Fighters, no?
She was one of the Street Fighters. She was definitely not Chun-Li. That would be a weird move.
No. Even in the 90s.
Yeah, even in the 90s, that would be weird.
Mickey Rooney was like, I can play Chun-Li.
Mickey Rooney. That's a Breakfast at Tiffany's reference for you boomers out there. For you racist fucking boomers. Who are like, Mickey Rooney was my favorite part of Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Who would say such a thing? So this episode, which is just called A Christmas Carol, is written by Stephen Moffat, the Moff himself, and it's very Moffat-y.
Oh, yeah.
Moffat is famous for magic is science and science is magic and don't ask questions.
Yeah, and also, like, time travel plot. Like, by the end of it, you got to watch the episode back again to catch something.
Right, and also, The rules of Doctor Who and time travel are very loose because isn't it said like in many different episodes that he can't cross himself, he can't cross his own timeline? But isn't that all he's doing in this episode?
I suppose so, because he's going back to the old man's childhood.
He's literally changing this man's life.
Right.
And then going back and forth.
No, he absolutely is doing that. And then there's like giant sharks, and it's a weird episode.
It's fun, though. You've got Michael Gambon as basically Scrooge. That's Dumbledore from the Harry Potter movies, and just a great British actor. And he's great as Kazran.
That's his name.
Yeah, he's the Scrooge, but he's Kazran.
I kept wanting to say Casbah, but that's Rock the Casbah.
Right, Rock the Casbah. So it's basically Doctor Who-ify the Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
It's this planet where there is, I guess there's like the atmosphere has all of this moisture in it. So
this fish just flying around.
And if you like freeze it, you can control the fish and you can control the skies. And Kazran's father, also played by Michael Gambon, was like a mean old abusive rich man, and now he's a mean old abusive rich man, and he's the Scrooge, and he controls the whole planet. And there is a ship that is crashing, that is going to crash into the planet, and everyone on board, including the Doctor's companions, Amy and Rory, are going to die unless Kazran will fucking open up the sky and let them land. But he won't do that because he's a Scrooge and he doesn't give a shit about people.
Yeah.
And this sort of like organ that he uses to control the clouds is isomorphic, so it only reacts to him. The Doctor can't use it.
Right, which I always assumed was a callback to the episode where the Master takes over the world because he has the isomorphic controls that the Doctor can't get to.
Yes. They describe how in the beginning it begins with like every planet and culture has a version of Christmas. It's where you're celebrating being halfway through the dark.
Yeah, and it's like, sure, whatever.
It's a Victorian England planet.
Right. This is like classic Doctor Who, like we got access to the BBC library of props and costumes. What can we do for a Christmas special?
It's like we want it to be, it's like, do we make it Victorian England? No, we'll make it a different planet, but it is Victorian England in this planet. Just don't ask questions.
Yeah.
It's like recently I was talking to Janine about Star Wars Visions, which is like all those anime Star Wars shorts. And there's a lot of Japan planets in that series. It's just like, okay, I guess feudalism somehow popped up here on this planet.
A lot of Newt Gunray in these Visions episodes.
So it begins with what? You've got this like poor family that's like, please unfreeze.
Yeah, please unfreeze the planet.
Like, or unfreeze our daughter.
Yes.
Or not our daughter, our like aunt's cousin thing. Because she's older than them.
Right, because that's where it starts to get confusing. Because it's like, unfreeze our aunt. And you're like, okay, there's an aunt that needs to be unfrozen.
Right.
But then throughout the episode, it's like, wait a minute, no, this isn't their aunt. This is like his...
Right.
Not girlfriend.
Right.
Then they go back in time to when he's a kid, and that's where the Christmas Carol part starts.
Right.
Where, like, she gets unfrozen every Christmas.
Right. The Doctor basically is like, the Doctor tries to... He comes through the chimney, which is good fun.
Yeah.
And he's like, I saw the chimney, I couldn't help myself. And the Doctor is... he does the Doctor thing. He comes in, he's fucking around. He's... there's a great line, I think, where he's like, he points to the frozen woman. He's like, who's that? And Kazran says, she's nobody important. And the Doctor's like, wow, that's amazing. I've lived for 9,000 years. I've never met anyone who wasn't important. It's very Doctor Who-y.
Yeah.
The poor people. He's so mean to he's more cruel than any other Scrooge. He's so mean because Ebenezer Scrooge wouldn't give to charity. This man will allow
a ship
thousands of people to die because he does not give a shit.
Yeah, like imagine if you went back in time and could save the Titanic in an instant.
And you don't.
Yeah. And
because
you
like, don't have to.
Yeah. I don't have to do this.
Right.
And that's why capitalism doesn't work.
So the Doctor's like, all right, well, whatever happens next, you brought this on. So the Doctor is the ghost of Christmas past because he takes the TARDIS back to Kazran as a child. And actually, he plays for Kazran video footage. Why is it black and white? Because it's Victorian planet.
Right.
Of him as a kid being like smacked by his dad and like talking about fish in his little vlog. And then the doctor gets on the TARDIS, and then the doctor shows up in the footage, and he's like, okay,
right, now he's making new memories for him.
Yeah, he says, like, listen, this is going to get confusing because as I make changes here, you're going to start to make memories there, but you'll get the hang of it. And the doctor basically rewrites this man's life.
Right.
Because he, as a kid, he's nice, so he's like hanging out with the kid. The kid wants to see fish. So the doctor uses the sonic screwdriver as a lure, and it lures in some fish, but then a giant shark.
Big shark.
The shark eats half of it. Sure. We haven't said, the weird thing about freezing people is these evil old rich people, they're money lenders.
Right, so this woman is like on loan.
Yeah, they're collateral. You have to give a member of your family until the loan is repaid. Which, we're like 2 weeks away from that as it is. Doctor finds out that Kazran as a kid, I guess, has a crush on the lady, or he, in the beginning, he seems like he doesn't know her, but I don't know, forget about that.
Yeah, that's where like the weird time bullshit comes in. It's like basically he finds out, his kid's got a crush on this girl, so he's like, well, let's just hang out with her.
Right.
So on Christmas Eve they hang out,
right,
and then basically the rest of the episode is every year, like he promises young Kismet, or whatever his name is, Kazrat.
Kismet.
He promises Kazran that every Christmas Eve he's going to come back and they're going to hang out with the lady.
Right.
And then,
Abigail.
And then through him coming back every year, you see he gets a little older, and now the lady, Abigail, forms a relationship with Kazran.
Yeah, she pulls a total Padme Amidala and goes from being a woman who enjoys the company of this rambunctious kid to, oh, now the kid's a man, now I like you.
Right.
They call that pulling a Padme.
And then basically, like, now it's rewriting his memories, but the guy's still an old crotchety asshole. Right. And then eventually it gets to the point where, like, there's a big reveal. Well, there's two big reveals. One reveal is that she's dying. Right.
Well, you see there's numbers on her. There's like a clock on her, like, chamber, and it's the amount of days she has to live. Because I guess what you're giving as collateral is days of your life. And she said she would do it for her family because she's sick. So she's like, fuck it, I'll do this. We say the woman Abigail is played by Katherine Jenkins, and she's an opera singer.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
She does it a lot. I gotta say, I like that they lean into the concept of a Christmas Carol. It's about a song. It's about caroling.
Right.
Because you see in the beginning, the planet has all these speakers everywhere with all of this music, and it's to keep the fish at bay.
Yeah.
And we see later on when the shark is like gonna eat them, whatever, flying through the air, she sings, and that's what like calms the shark down.
So if you're ever in the ocean and you get attacked by a shark,
no, I'm not sure that would work.
You better know opera.
No, it's got to be a space shark that can swim in moist air.
Yeah, otherwise you got to punch the shark in the nose.
This is where in one of the Christmases they go to Hollywood to Frank Sinatra's house, and this is where the idea of the doctor marrying Marilyn Monroe comes from, because they've referenced it since then.
They have. It's like, oh, Frank Sinatra's good. Which let's keep it 100 for a second. Frank Sinatra would hate the doctor.
Sure, absolutely. He'd be like, "Who's this fruit bag?
Yeah,
get him out of here!
You lily liver, get out of here!"
This is a guy who kicked Harlan Ellison out of a room because he didn't like his boots.
Right.
Fucking. I don't like Frank Sinatra, but anyway,
well, don't go to Hoboken.
Yeah. So yeah, Kazran is in love with her. She's in love with Kazran. There's some fun. I mean, I think this is a very well written episode. When he goes to kiss her, he's like, "I've never kissed anyone before." The doctor's like, "Here's what you do: act all nervous and rubbish and like you don't know what you're doing." And he's like, "Why?" He's like, "Because that's what's gonna happen anyway. You might as well make it part of the plan."
Yeah,
that's some fun stuff. It's been a while since I've watched a Matt Smith episode, and I was like, "Yeah, I remember why people like Matt Smith."
He's got a lot of energy to him,
and he's really comedic. He's comedic more than he's anything else.
Yeah.
So the Ghost of Christmas Present is a hologram of Amy Pond coming from the ship that's crashing.
Right.
and she has all the people on the ship sing a carol to fucking try to melt Kazran's heart and let him not die in a horrible death. I guess the big moment is when they meet, because the doctor goes to Kazran as an adult and he's like, I really tried to help you. I don't know where I went wrong. I thought we were making progress. And look, it turned out this way. And Kazran's like, yeah, because fucking you made me fall in love with somebody who was dying. Now I'm even more of an asshole.
Right.
And then he's like, he says something about the Ghost of Christmas future. And old Kazran's like, what do you mean? Whose future? And then he turns around and there's the kid and he's like, your future. And then he says to the kid, see what you become? Is this what you want to be? You want to be this old asshole?
Yeah.
And
kind of just guilting him at that point. Like, at that point, like, the old Kazran's right. He did kind of fuck up.
Right.
And now he's just like, screw it. You want to be this guy? You want to fucking be? He's almost like, the fuck was that movie?
It's like rewriting his life twice, really.
Right. But it's almost like, what was that movie with De Niro where he catches his kid, he's like in the 50s, and he catches his kid like stealing something, and he's like, no, you don't do it this way. You want to fucking grow up like this? You want to be these guys?
Is that
like,
the one where he's in the Boy Scout outfit? This Boy's Life or whatever?
No, I don't know.
The one with fucking, is that the one with Leonardo DiCaprio?
No. I don't.
Whatever.
I remember.
So at the end, the Kazran turns good. You know, it's a Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
It's what's interesting is, and we've been talking about this through this entire holiday episode, because we've gone through all the different Christmas Carol versions, or not everyone, but a lot. You know the beats. It's one of the most famous narratives, right, in the Western world. So what's smart about how this is written is it doesn't for a second treat you like an idiot who doesn't know what happens.
Yeah.
So given that you know every beat of this story, it's how do I hit these beats? It's like classical music. How do I compose it? Right? All right, you know this guy's the Scrooge.
How are we going to get there?
Yeah, exactly. How are we going to get there? How am I going to play with the idea?
That's why like this works, Scrooged works.
Right.
It's like taking a new take. And complete sidebar.
Yeah.
What is the deal with this new Will Ferrell movie?
Spirited.
Is that a straight up remake of Scrooged?
I haven't seen it. I've only seen the trailer.
Yeah, I've just seen a trailer for it.
It seems like a sort of sideways version of it.
Okay.
Isn't like it about like one of the ghosts or something? I don't know.
I just know it's on Apple Plus, so I'll never see it.
Are you a fan of Scrooged?
I'm a fan of Scrooged.
I am a fan of Scrooge too. You know, I think it's actually, as much as people like it, I think it's actually underrated. I think it's very good.
It is very good.
Yeah, and you know, you got Buster Poindexter in it.
Yeah, local Staten Island native. Yeah.
Is he passed or whatever? He plays the
he's the cab driver.
The cab driver. Yeah. Then
he's like the guy that just leads him around. So he's the Ghost of Christmas Past, I think.
Yeah. And then what's her name? Carol Kane, I think, is present or future. I forget. But it's good. And what's funny is I watched it like last year, and there's like a Trump joke, like a Trump is an asshole joke. Like Bill Murray's in the sewer, and he's like, what is this, Trump Tower? Or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, this is the 80s, folks.
There were signs. Can't say there weren't signs.
So let me ask you, besides Scrooge, what are some of your other favorite Scrooge Christmas Carol adaptations in pop
Muppet
culture?
Christmas Carol.
Of course. But of course.
Exactly. But of course. That's the ultimate.
Isn't it? I mean, me and Jen talk about it in this very episode that you and I are part of. Yeah. But Anthony talked about it, Janine talked about it. It's almost funny in that it's ubiquitous. It's like anybody, you'd be like, you could go to fucking anybody and be like, hey, what's the best Christmas Carol? People straight away like the Muppet Christmas Carol is. It's not just the best; it's definitive.
Well, the key is Michael Caine. I don't think if you didn't have Michael Caine in it.
Yes, that's what I say.
Yeah,
that's what I say.
And then not only that, but I posted this on Instagram the other day, and people went gaga for it. There was a period in the late 80s, early 90s where it seemed like everyone had those fucking Muppet Babies Christmas dolls around the tree.
Yes, I had those.
Yeah, I had them too.
I absolutely had them. Let me ask you a question. You're a Star Trek fan. Did you ever watch the Patrick Stewart Christmas Carol?
No, I know it exists.
I think it was a TV. I think it might have been a TV. Actually, I'm sure it was not a theatrical release.
No, it probably wasn't.
It was. I'm trying to. Yeah,
I would love to get. There's got to be some website that's taken account of how many adaptations of A Christmas Carol there have been.
Well, when you take in things like DuckTales, right? When you take in things like that,
got to be in the millions.
I mean, you're not able to do it. It's so. And any schmo, you could be like, what happens in A Christmas Carol?
Yeah.
People are like,
we all know.
Three ghosts, hey, you there? What day is it?
Yeah.
Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. Well, Vin, thank you so much for stopping by for the holiday.
Yeah.
And I'll see you soon. See you next year.
Yeah, you'll see everyone next year.
Happy holidays, Jen.
Happy holidays, Mike.
I'm here with the lovely JGL.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
Good.
Good, I'm glad.
I wasn't sick.
I know, I'm asking you
for
the holidays, how you feeling.
Oh, I see. Well, I'm getting there. I'm getting jolly.
Good. So we're here. This is the main event, as it were.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Which
I believe it's a Muppet Christmas Carol.
I believe it's the Muppet Christmas Carol.
We'll see who's right.
Let's see what IMDb says. IMDb says the Muppet Christmas Carol. Take a look at that. That's a the right there. Want to start again? Or... So this is the Muppet Christmas Carol. This came out in 1992.
Yep.
So there was a really interesting article that came out actually in January of this year. So I guess right after last Christmas. It's from Empire Magazine, and it's called "How the Muppet Christmas Carol Became the Ultimate Dickens Adaptation" by Owen Williams. And that's, I think, one of the interesting things about it is that it's not just great,
Right.
it's that it is ultimate. I mean, you ask anybody, like, what's the best adaptation of A Christmas Carol? People always say
The
the
Muppets.
Muppet Christmas Carol. And I think that's an interesting thing to think about as to like why it is. And there's a few answers kind of suggested in the article.
Sure.
Some from people who worked on the movie.
Right.
One of the things that they said was one of the smart choices they made was to make it funny, but not make it a parody of A Christmas Carol.
Right.
To make it a Christmas Carol.
Right. Yeah.
Which I think is one of the reasons it works so well. The music's really good.
Oh, so good.
But I think if you had to guess, if you had to say like what makes it the ultimate, I think it'd have to be Michael Caine.
Oh, yeah.
He's just, I mean, so many actors have played Scrooge, but he does it so well. When he's mean, you believe the mean.
Yeah.
When he's joyous, you believe the joyous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He sells the whole thing. It's perfect.
Yeah. And he's acting 100%. He's not acting for a kid's movie.
Right.
He's just acting 100%.
Yeah, he said, like, I took it seriously. I didn't treat it like I was in a Muppet movie.
Yeah.
Which I think
makes a difference.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it goes along with the tone that we were just talking about with not making it a parody. Like, he was just like, everyone really does it.
Yeah.
Even, like, you look at, like, Kermit the Frog, right, is the star of the Muppets, the most famous Muppet. And he's a straight man anyway, so he's not too jokey anyway.
Yeah.
But in this movie, he's like, there's no jokes from him. He's
pretty subdued.
He's completely playing the role
Yeah.
of Bob Cratchit.
Yeah.
I think this movie actually makes some really smart choices in terms of its casting. Well, first, the casting is great. Making Waldorf and Statler Marley, making Marley and Marley.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, you would make. It's obvious that you would make Kermit Bob Cratchit. Making Michael Caine Scrooge. One of the original ideas was for Scrooge to be the Muppet Uncle Deadly. Which it's much better that they said, okay, Scrooge should be a human.
Right.
one of the interesting things that came out that's also in this article is they talk about how we don't realize it now, but this was a very weird, precarious time where it could have been the end for the Muppets. Muppet Christmas Carol comes out in 1992. The last Muppet movie had been 8 years earlier, The Muppets Take Manhattan. Jim Henson died in 1990. And Muppet Babies ended in 1991. So it could have just been over.
Yeah.
It could have just been done. I mean, even towards the end of his career, Jim Henson wasn't that. He loved the Muppets, but he wanted to sell them to Disney.
Right.
And he really wanted to work on things like, Dark Crystal and Labyrinth and Storyteller. He loved them, but he didn't want to keep doing it himself.
Right.
So, it was a weird time. And this started off as a Christmas special for TV. And then they were like, this is so good, we should make it a movie.
Yeah.
And it's the best Muppet movie.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
By a country mile.
I think it's the first Muppet movie I've seen because we're a big Christmas family here. And me and my sister used to watch a lot of Christmas movies.
Yeah.
And it was the first Muppet movie I've seen. And part of me, not that I don't like other Muppet movies, but everything else I've seen, I'm like, it's not all Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah, it's in a league of its own, really. The Muppet filmography is interesting because there's the Muppet movie is its own thing, and then the Great Muppet Caper is sort of like a parody of a genre movie,
right?
And then you've got Muppet Take Manhattan, which is its own thing, and then you've got this, and I guess the only thing close to this is Muppet Treasure Island, which I personally never really liked. I know a lot of people like it. In fact, Tim Curry wanted to be Scrooge, and Michael Caine did it, but they ended up giving him Long John Silver. So that's weird too. That was a weird little time where it was Muppets do literary classics. Yeah. And then there was 1999's Muppets from Space, which is I remember really liking it, although people don't talk about it.
Right.
People skip right from Muppet Christmas Carol to the Muppet movie with Amy Adams.
Right.
That was this revival. And then the one that came after that, Muppets Most Wanted.
Yeah.
But people forget Muppets in Space, it's about Gonzo's the star of it. And it's about Gonzo looking for his family, and he finds out, spoiler alert, that he's an alien. And that's what's called Muppets from Space. It's also weird setup because in that one, all the Muppets live together in one house.
Interesting.
And then we were just talking about this before we started recording, Muppet Wizard of Oz.
Right.
Which is a TV movie from 2005, which I must admit I have not seen any of.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen it, but I don't really remember it.
Ashanti.
Yeah. Is Dorothy.
Yeah, that's a very 2005 person to be. Ashanti. Yeah, it's you think of course how would I not have seen that? It's Muppets Wizard of Oz.
Right.
No, and I don't know, it could be a gem. I have no idea. It could be horrible, or it could be amazing.
Right. Yeah. And then the shows, which I think I prefer.
Which ones?
Well, I really like The Muppets Tonight, even though nobody else liked it when it was
The Muppets
on.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Well, The Muppets Tonight was a TGIF show.
Or no. What's the one?
Oh, the one that's like The Office?
The new one, yeah.
That's just called The Muppets, period.
Oh, right.
The Muppets
I don't know if I watched The Muppets Tonight then. I watched The Muppet Show, which I really liked.
The original, yeah.
And then The Muppets. Oh, maybe I don't watch The Muppets
Muppets Tonight was sort of a revival of the original Muppets, but not
maybe
a different kind of show. It was TGIF show.
Yeah.
It came out it would not have happened if not for the Christmas Carol.
Yep.
It was the next thing after the Christmas Carol.
Yep, I'm with you now. Yeah.
And
but I did mean The Muppets.
You meant The Muppets?
I like The Muppets.
Yeah, I liked it too. You showed it to me.
Yeah.
Because I was saying I don't remember I forget how we were talking about it. You were saying that you watched it all because it only had one season.
Yeah, so it was great.
It feels like everybody watched. The pilot wasn't strong.
No.
So I feel like everyone watched the pilot and said, this sucks. And that was it.
Yeah.
But you stayed with it, and it actually got better and better and better. I really wish that show had continued going because it was like genuinely a sitcom with the Muppets in it.
Right. It was so good. It's so good.
Yeah. And now there's Muppets Now, which it's hit or miss. That's the Disney Plus one.
Yeah.
There's some things, there were some segments that I liked, some that I didn't. And Muppets Haunted Mansion I liked, but I don't know,
yeah, nothing's hit the magic of
I don't
the Muppet
like,
Christmas
I mean, I like Pepe the Prawn, but he's completely taken Rizzo the Rat's role as Gonzo's sidekick.
I know, I don't like that.
Yeah, I like Rizzo and Gonzo, especially in this movie, are so good together. Yeah. That's another, I think, brilliant casting thing, to have Gonzo be Charles Dickens and the narrator, and to be so respectful to the text and use so much real dialogue and prose from it.
Yeah.
But then also to have Rizzo there, it's fun because it's like it breaks the fourth wall a little bit. But also they're not like outside of it telling it, like they're like sneaking around in it.
Right.
They're like talking. They're like in the scenes. Sometimes people like run them over, or like they drop something, and the rest of them react to it. It's this great thing, and it's a great fourth wall break because you've got a few fourth wall breaks in it. You've got them when Rizzo's like, "You're not Charles Dickens," and then you've got when Animal is supposed to be playing like subdued at the Fosbury party, but he can't do it, and he just Animal's out. And then there's what's his name? Sam Eagle says something about it's the American way, and then Gonzo whispers in the ear, and he's like, "It's the British way."
And he calls him Sam, which isn't supposed to be his name.
Right. He's the
his character. Yeah.
Right. It's genuinely the Muppets are putting on this movie.
Yeah. It's so good.
So you saw it. It was the first Muppet movie you saw.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, it came out in 93, so I was like 5.
So you saw it first in VHS?
6. Yeah. I still have the VHS. The VHS the VHS has The Love Is Gone.
Right.
Which is just being put back on Disney Plus.
It was removed for the DVD version.
Yeah.
Or I guess, and probably subsequent television versions.
Right. Yeah. But in the VHS, it's there.
Yeah. It blows my mind that they ever took it away, because it's like when you hear how they almost cut out Over the Rainbow from Wizard of Oz, because it's like, yes, it's
the heart of the movie.
Yes, it's a little slow, but it's like, this is why Scrooge. This is one of the reasons why Scrooge is so heartless, and Michael Caine is crying and like doing such a good job in it. It's like it really like cuts the whole heart out of the movie, and it's not even that long a song.
I know,
and it's reprised at the end.
Yeah.
Which is like the reprisal doesn't make sense really without The Love Is Gone.
It also doesn't make sense in the scene when it's cut, because it goes from whatever the last dialogue is, where she's like, "I'm leaving you."
Yeah.
And then it cuts crying to Rizzo crying in Gonzo's arms, and it's like, that's not that sad.
It's a real chop job.
I mean, it is sad, but
it's not well edited.
Right.
The edited down version. It's a real chop job. And the woman who, I don't know her name offhand, but the woman who plays Scrooge's fiance, she's doing a good job singing and stuff.
Yeah. It's lovely. It's a lovely scene, and everyone likes it.
Yeah.
Because I guess, whatever, you've seen it on YouTube. But yeah, I feel like everyone is excited that it's back. Although they also like made a big deal about it being back, and it's in the extras. Like,
right.
Just put it. Just reload
right. You
it.
have to go on Disney Plus. You have to go to the extras and choose. You could just watch the scene on its own, or you can choose to watch theatrical release or extended release, whatever they call it.
Extended version.
Yeah.
Like, just put it. Just if people want to skip it, they could skip it. Just put the whole thing up there. I don't know. Disney makes weird choices these days.
Yeah, well, fucking Bob Chapek's gone, and Goodwill to All Men, and Merry Christmas to that. The real fucking Scrooge. I'm sorry, I can't find the actress who plays Scrooge's fiance, but she does do a great job, and I like her singing. I think it's smart for the movie to put such an emphasis on that, because it's in the story, but it's not like the heart of the matter in the story.
Right.
Like in the story, yes, he had a girlfriend that he was going to marry, but then he screwed it up. But also, it's just as prevalent in the story that he loses his relationship with his sister, who's the mother of his nephew. Oh, her name is Meredith Braun as Belle.
Yeah, I was going to say, doesn't he have like a way more tragic past than in the book?
Well, no, in the book, when he goes, with every ghost in the book, he spends more time and sees more things. Oh. So he sees like his childhood friends. He sees his younger sister who he had a good relationship with. It's more than just the one beat of like the love of his life is gone. And I don't know what Fezziwig, I forget what Fezziwig is a business, like what they sell or what they make in the story. But in this movie,
it's Fozzie. So he's making rubber chickens and clown shoes.
You bet. And instead of his wife in the story, it's his mother from the Christmas special, the TV Christmas special. Yeah. Which is I always like that too.
Yeah.
That's the one that has like Fraggles in it and everything. And Sesame Street characters. Mm-hmm. Now that they're owned by different entities, you never see them cross over.
Yeah.
Which saddens me. In the Muppets, the Amy Adams Muppets movie, in the script there was a scene, a cameo from Elmo, but they couldn't do it. Aww. Which would have been smart because he's, I don't know, maybe the most famous Muppet now, really, when you think about it.
Well, the Muppets Take Manhattan, is that the one where Big Bird's trying to find his family?
No, that's Follow That Bird. Oh, that's a whole Sesame Street movie.
Oh, is that Sesame Street? Yeah. Oh, wow.
But you see him he's also in the Muppet movie. You see him traveling and like hitchhiking when they're.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Then yeah.
Yeah.
It must all be jumbled.
But also in the early Sesame Street, Kermit the Frog was the newscaster.
Yeah.
So they used to commingle so much more.
Right.
We haven't said yet the team behind the movie. This is directed by Brian Henson, who's Jim Henson's son. The screenplay is by Jerry Jewell, and the songs are by Paul Williams. And I think the songs are really, really good.
The songs are amazing.
What's your favorite song?
I really like Marley and Marley.
What do you like about Marley and Marley?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just so fun.
It's a lot of fun. You know, it's interesting. In almost every other adaptation, Marley is very sad and regretful.
Right.
And in this, because it's Waldorf and Statler,
yeah, they don't care.
They're still like ha, like they're still laughing at all the evil shit that they did.
Right. And then shuddering because
because they're chained up.
Right.
Everything they do with the puppetry in that scene is great, with the chains, and then the chains go around Scrooge, and even like the little lock boxes.
Yeah.
They sing.
Yeah. Is it true that they named him Robert Marley, like Bob Marley?
Oh, I didn't. That didn't occur to me, but that makes sense. Because it is Jacob in the story.
Right. Yeah, it's just Jacob.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Maybe.
I heard that somewhere, but I don't know if it was true.
What occurred to me today watching it, because we just watched it, was in the Fozziwig scene, you see young Waldorf and Statler.
Yeah.
And that might be the only time you see them. Although I think they're younger in Muppet Babies. Like, they're just like their uncles.
Yeah.
They're just grown men. But, like, they're young in that scene.
But they're not young, though. They're not young. They're just like, they're just not
hair. Old men. Yeah, right. They're not young.
Look old.
Right.
Like, they just took the regular.
Right. They look older than Scrooge. Like, it's where the Scrooge goes into business with them. Because in the story, Marley's like his age. Yeah.
But no, in this, they took the same puppet and like just gave them black mustache and hair instead of white.
Oh.
Which I appreciated. You can't change them too much. You won't recognize them.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the love between Rizzo and Gonzo?
Yes, let's.
My favorite part, favorite part in this movie is when, Gonzo's annoyed at Rizzo a bunch, but there's something with jelly beans and he forgets his jelly beans.
Yeah.
And then he finds them in his pocket, and Rizzo could tell that Gonzo's really annoyed with him, so he just kisses him on the nose.
I love it. And it's so funny.
It's diffuse it.
It happens so fast.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even notice it.
I notice it. I love it.
It's my favorite part. It's pretty great.
Favorite part.
It's so random, too.
Yeah.
I love, in the story, there's just Bob Cratchit. But in this, you've got Bob Cratchit, and then he has a team of rats that work with him.
Yeah.
And I love them.
Yeah.
I still think it's like one of the funniest things when he's like, he screams at them because they want more coal and they're freezing. And he screams at them and they're like, heat wave. This is the island in the sun. And they've all got like Hawaiian shirts on.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
I love the rats.
Yeah, the rats are great.
Yeah. What else is good? I like, again, good casting. Bunsen and Beaker as the two charity takers.
Yeah.
That's super smart.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did anything else, but I like the guy who plays Fred, the nephew. I always liked him. And I always thought his wife was cute with the red hair.
Yeah. She's cute.
Speaking of red hair, let's talk about the ghosts.
Oh.
Feelings? Let's go in order. The Ghost of Christmas Past. How
horrifying. Absolutely horrifying.
Why so?
I don't care for her face. It's terrifying.
Because it's like a Muppet face, right?
Because, no.
Okay,
if it was a Muppet face, it would be better. It's a Muppet face that's trying to look too human.
Yeah.
And it is. It is haunting.
It's in between. It's two in between, right?
Horrifying.
It needs to be more Muppety or more human.
It's terrible. It needs to be the Ghost of Christmas Future because it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. I think if you take the mask off of or the hood off of Christmas Future, it's Christmas Past.
It's just that little girl head.
She's hard. That's why she can't speak, so you don't recognize her voice. Terrifying.
I don't feel as strongly as you.
I don't care for it at all.
But I do feel like there's something chilling about it.
I mean, yeah, it works. And I do. She has the sweetest voice. I don't know who voiced her, but
and I like
awesome
this a real
job.
little kid.
Yeah, awesome job on the voice.
When I was talking to Anthony about the story, which you just heard if you listened to this episode, he was talking about how like in Victorian literature there's like the sickly child and then like the angelic child.
Yeah.
And it's smart that they decided to make her the angelic child.
Right.
Because in the story
Tiny Tim,
it's like everything at once. It's like
right, yeah.
It's like it's constantly like shimmering and changing. So they just had to make a choice, and they always do when you adapt it. You kind of like have to just come up with your own past. And I think it's good. It's definitely chilling. It doesn't scare me, but it's definitely cold. And the way they did that was it is a Muppet, but first they put it in like baby oil and worked it from above instead of below. And just composited it in. But then I think the baby oil didn't work or something like that. So then they did it with like water or a combination of the two. You looking at it now, you'd think it's early CGI, but it's not. It's compositing. It might be digital compositing, but it is a Muppet.
I don't care for it.
I think
no, but it is. Yeah. You're right. It is really cool. It's just
Well, I think it's another really smart choice and an inspired choice to say all of the ghosts, except for Marley's, are new, unique Muppets.
Yeah.
Because it could have easily been Fonzie's The Ghost of Christmas Past.
Right.
And Skeeter's The Ghost of Christmas Present.
No, yeah. I think that would have made it a little cheesy.
Right.
Yeah.
And for some reason in my head, I'd always thought that The Ghost of Christmas Present was from something else. But he's not. It's just that's a very well-known Muppet voice. But he's unique.
Yeah.
He's unique. And then, of course, the last one's unique.
And he's adorable.
Yeah. My favorite song is It Feels Like Christmas.
Yeah.
For sure. That might be my favorite Christmas song.
Yeah.
My favorite, I guess I like the upbeat songs. My favorite song is that. And I guess my second favorite song is A Thankful Heart. And A Thankful Heart. I love that they make a whole song out of that.
Yeah. I also like the one with Bob Cratchit when One More Sleep Till Christmas.
The very first song? I can do without that one.
Oh, all right.
I do like the penguins ice skating.
Yeah.
And having their ice skating party.
Yeah.
This it looks cold and dreary, but being the Muppets, it does make it. The world seems less down than it does in like some other adaptations. Yeah. It seems like they're fun Muppets around.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about some of the background characters. There's, of course, the iconic mice.
I love the mice. No
cheeses for us, sneezes.
Scrooge is the first song, but yes. I do love the Scrooge song.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's really good, and it's a good setup, and it tips the ending when they're like, that breakdown part in the middle, and they're like, he must be so sad. There must be a good man inside.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
It really is.
No cheeses for us, nieces.
You've got the guy who throws the fish.
Yeah. Comes right back.
You got things hanging out of windows.
Yeah.
A lot of pig people, which I think is smart because they use the pig people to be like rich assholes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a scene I always forget is Old Joe is that spider Muppet.
Oh my God, terrifying and creepy.
That's a creepy part of the book too. But when
they're selling Scrooge's stuff after he dies.
Yeah. And they're just talking about how much of a piece of shit he was.
Yeah. The Scrooge song is also, I was saying, it's like the townspeople song in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, it is.
With Belle. It's like, no wonder he's ready to evict you. You're all mean to him.
All you ever do is say about how much of a piece of shit he is.
Right to his face.
Yeah. Something different about Michael Caine's performance is that he's not just grumpy. He seems to take pleasure in being evil in the beginning. Like when he talks about how Christmas is the harvest season for moneylenders, and he smiles while he says it, like he likes it.
Yeah.
Which is, again, it's why it's such a good turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so good.
Something that's not in the story, or I don't think is in the story, I think it's unique to this, is when Scrooge is like being good Scrooge, he gives a bunch of charity to the guys, and then Beaker gives his scarf to Scrooge, and Scrooge acts like he's never gotten a present before in his whole life. And he's like, a present for me. And he's like,
he wears it.
Yeah, he wears it.
I like when in the beginning when Scrooge kicks them out.
Yeah.
The only thing that Beaker says is "Oh dear."
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah.
I like
so cute.
I love the first guy you see that's like, Mr. Scrooge, and he's like trying to and Scrooge just picks up and throws him. He's like, "Thank you for not shouting at me."
Yeah.
The scene where the scene in the future where Tiny Tim is dead, and you have Miss Piggy crying.
I know.
And then you have Kermit coming in and playing it so straight.
Yeah.
And using real dialogue from the book where he's like, life is filled with
meetings and partings. That's the way of it.
He's the first one of us to part.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, I'm feeling all this. I'm really feeling this.
No. And they find a spot for him where he can see the ducks on the lake.
I know.
But Kermit's voice breaks. Can't even finish.
I know.
It's so upsetting.
I hope Kermit was a contender for the Oscar this year. I hope there was buzz about it. Is it a wonderful thing that the best Muppet movie comes out 2 years after Henson's death, or is it a sad thing?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what went into all the feeling.
Yeah. Right. Well, the movie begins with in memory of Jim Henson and someone. I always forget the other person. It's another Muppeteer.
Yeah.
So it begins with that somber note.
Yeah.
And I remember the day Jim Henson died. I was at my grandmother's house because we used to go there. It was a Wednesday, I guess, because we used to go there every Wednesday for dinner when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And but he was like in his 40s or something, right? Or maybe 50s. He
died from pneumonia.
Right, he had walking pneumonia, so we had no idea.
Ignored.
Right. He he wasn't sick. He was just the most random. He died.
No, I thought he was feeling sick, but he kept working.
No, but I mean it's not like he had
right, he
cancer.
Didn't have right.
You didn't hear anything about it. He was just a public figure, and then one day they're like, "Guess what? Jim Henson died," and everyone was like, "What? That's crazy."
Yeah.
And I don't know if I said this. Me and Anthony saw this in the theater.
Mm.
I don't know if Anthony remembers it. but our mother took us. Mm-hmm. And I remember for the first time I saw it, I loved it. Like it's so good.
Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know when the first time I saw it because I was pretty young when it came out. So I don't know if we saw it in the theater, but yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I think I was reading another article that was like Michael Caine loves it as much as you do.
Oh,
because he said at the time he had a daughter who was 7. And he was like, I never made anything that she could see. So when I got the chance to do a Muppet movie, I was like, okay, I'll do it. And she liked it.
Stop.
That worked out.
Stop.
Compare that to the story of Frank Langella, who also wanted a movie for his son to see. So he did Masters of the Universe as Skeletor. And then in the premiere, his son fell asleep.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know, this ain't like the cartoon. I'm sleeping. Didn't work out for him.
Can relate.
That's always sweet when people do that.
Yeah.
I think Jim Carrey said that about doing Sonic. He did for his grandkids. Because people don't realize, like, he had his first kid very young. Like, I think in Living Color he had like a daughter. Like he has like grandkids now. Although he's older than he looks.
Yeah. How old was Michael Caine when this was made? Because I feel like he's someone that looks a lot older than he is.
We're gonna have to do a little bit of math here, but let's see.
I feel like he's always looked old.
Well, he's kind of like balding in this, and I wonder if that's like makeup or like he actually was just losing his hair in that way. He was born in 1933.
Wait, what year did the movie come out?
1992.
59.
He was 59 when he made the movie?
Well, he was 59 when it came out.
So what the fuck is he now? 1 million? He's 1 million years old?
Wait, let me do it again.
Well, it's 2000. It's 2022.
Minus.
So it's 30 years later. This is the 30-year anniversary.
Yeah, what year was he born?
So he was 59, 69, 89? He's 89? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that checks.
Damn. People live long.
Yeah, but he looks what you imagine an 89-year-old looks like.
Right.
In this movie.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I mean, also it's Dickens time, so that was probably mad old.
Right. He's perfect. He's the perfect Scrooge.
Yeah.
This is a movie I can watch over and over again too.
Yeah, me too.
Because it really it doesn't drag really. Even the longer version, like with that extra song, like it really just kind of goes. I mean,
yeah,
it's
an hour and 29 minutes.
Right.
With the long version,
right?
It's not even an hour and a half. I mean, basically, but like,
right?
It doesn't even reach an hour and a half.
Right. It's pretty well paced.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are there any other adaptations of A Christmas Carol that you liked?
I mean, I feel like I liked the guy that plays Frasier.
Oh, Kelsey Grammer?
Yeah. I feel like I liked that one.
That was a TV one?
I think so. I haven't seen any of them nearly as much as I've seen this one.
Right. They all feel like adaptations of this.
But also for a while, they were doing A Christmas Carol at Madison Square Garden when me and my sister were little. And my aunt used to work over there, so she would take us. And like the snow would come down at the end, and we were obsessed.
Was that a musical as well?
I don't think so.
They just did it as a straight. Wow.
Which I feel like at little now I don't even. Now I prefer a musical to anything, but when I was little, I definitely preferred a musical to anything.
Right.
But, yeah, we were both obsessed with it. We loved it. We couldn't wait for it. And then they stopped doing it. Actually, it's back on Broadway, but I don't know if that was... Madison Square Garden wouldn't be considered Broadway, but...
Anthony was telling me earlier on in this episode that they adapted it to the stage pretty quickly after it was first published.
I mean, I feel like it's not a hard adaptation.
No,
it's basically... Right. Oh, no, it's not. What am I saying? I was going to say... Well, no, it's pretty much the same
you can do
set.
it with black. You can just do it with like a black background and just and lighting, and then be like, now we're here. You know what I mean? Like, just good stagecraft.
Yeah. It's all in London.
Right.
It's all the same spot. He grew up the same spot in London. I feel like there's not a lot to
Right.
Yeah. No, it's pretty.
I mean, you could have the bedroom and the.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah.
I love Bean Bunny. In this.
Yeah.
I love how proud he seems to be of himself when Scrooge is like, smart boy, clever boy.
I know.
He's like, oh.
Just for knowing what day it is. Or no, if they... Yeah, I think just for knowing what day it is.
And then he was off with a shot, and then he runs over Gonzo and Rizzo. Oh, Bean Bunny.
I love him.
I love Bean Bunny.
He's saying it's season.
But how do you feel about Pizza Rizzo at
oh my God, it was
Epcot?
god
No,
awful.
not Epcot.
no, Hollywood Studios. Is it still there?
I think they just got rid of it.
Well, actually, you know what was god awful?
What?
Well, actually, let me start from the beginning.
Sure.
We're from New York. Florida pizza is not going to do it.
Right.
But
we have real Italian rats making our pizza.
Right.
None of these fake ass Florida rats.
We don't need Florida rats making our pizza.
Yeah.
But I think I've been scarred because of Pizza Planet was there before. And it was not at all, if you have not been, it is not at all what you're imagining. It's the saddest place. Imagine the saddest Chuck E. Cheese with no animatronics. It was dirty. It was the grossest place. And then they turned it into Pizza Rizzo, and it wasn't terrible, but like it was the same food, except a little cleaner because they just redid it. It's just sad.
I do like the Muppet 3D show though.
Oh, the Muppet 3D is great. It could be better. I feel like they don't give the Muppets
right
a ton. Sometimes they try. Like in Liberty Square, they used to do this Muppet show.
Yeah.
I have it recorded. It's one of the few things that, like, you know, like when you record something on vacation, you're like, oh, you're never going to watch that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will go back and watch it because I genuinely enjoy it.
If you could upload that on YouTube, you would get monetized. Do you know that people would watch that on YouTube?
It's not great. It's like on my phone.
Yeah. But but think about, like, if it's not anywhere else.
Yeah, that's true.
People will watch that.
It's vertical.
People watch all that shit. I watched the Ghostbusters show from I think that was Disney. No, that was Universal.
But yeah, it's in Liberty Square, and it's a human on the ground, but then above the Hall of Presidents, there's like little windows, so like Sam Eagle pops out.
That's fun.
And they do this little song because they're doing it's Liberty Square, so it's all about American history. And they sing great moments in history, but only the American parts.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And then they like tell whatever story.
Yeah, the history of Disney
cute.
with Muppets, I think, is kind of weird because I think they never totally understood what to do with it.
They have no idea what to do with them. But
and it was
people like it.
Yeah. And it was a long, protracted deal with Henson.
Yeah.
Because, like, he didn't like what they wanted, and then the money was... Like, they kept going back and forth. And then, like, after he died, it just quickly happened.
Yeah.
Which was itself kind of weird.
Yeah.
And you did have Muppet walk-around characters for a while. You don't have that anymore.
Not yet. But even this show, like, it's a cute idea, but it's in the middle of, like, people trying to walk through. So I get why it would have
I'm trying to go to the Haunted Mansion.
Right. And this is kind of, you have to stop and look up, so it's kind of causing a jam.
Right.
But it was a really cute idea. But yeah, they don't, even like Muppet Square or whatever you call it, like, what do they have? The fountain and the show and Pizza Rizzo? Like, they don't give it any love, really, because I think if they gave it more love, it would attract, well, I mean, it hasn't. I feel like a good amount of people go to see it, but anyway. Yeah.
Well, we did it. We've done another holiday special.
Yeah.
Jen, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for giving me this one.
Of course.
Very exciting.
And thanks to all my other guests. And thank you for listening to PCMC. We end every episode by saying,
go bye-bye.